1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Good morning, DA. How are you?
Hello! Hello! Good morning, my neighbor! Get off! Damon Amendolara.
Yes, how are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, buddy.
Baby, it's a brand new day. Ain't no clouds hanging over me. Something doesn't feel the same. The rest of my life gonna start today. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The rest of my life gonna start today.
Yeah.
Bing the bang the boom dong boom ding. Let the big doggy!
DA, great question.
All aboard the dog.
This is why you do what you do. Yo.
Somebody stop me.
Have some fun with your marriage.
I'm coming to you to be fat. Let me be fat.
Look it.
There's so many sickos in this country.
This is facts.
Oink, oink. Ow!
Hot and hurt.
I like pleasuring myself.
This is so dumb.
A little more juice.
What?
I am broken.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The rest of my life gonna start today.
CBS Sports Radio.
Well, as I was saying, when I was listening to the radio, I heard something. And what did you hear? A hissing sound like this.
Hey, DA. Hey, DA. Let me aboard that mothership.
Permission to board that mothership, sir.
Well, you know I had to slide through the intergalactic swag party. DA, man, beam me up. What's going on, my brother from another mother? Beam me up. You guys are the best. You guys make it
Permission to board that mothership.
Ship has connected.
And you the man, DA.
Happy Thursday to you, North America. The mothership has connected. Welcome aboard. It's the 4-hour Cosmic Cocktail Party. DA with you from the CBS Sports Radio studios in New York City, broadcasting to affiliates nationwide and north of the border, Anchorage to Atlanta, Chattanooga to Chittenango, Kalamazoo and Waterloo. We are on the air.
They listening, DA. Everything we saying, DA. Everything.
And we appreciate you being with us on this Thursday morning. Good show lined up for you this morning. NFL offensive lineman Kelvin Beacham's going to join us here on the show, hour number 4. It's a Thirsty Thursday. We toast to the good stuff today. In 20 minutes, sound check. In 40 minutes, can Calvin Ridley's reinstatement equate to the Jaguars with a number 1 wide receiver, adding to that team that already won a playoff game in their early development under Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence? We begin, however, with college basketball. as Jim Boeheim is out after 47 years as head coach at Syracuse. As you know, I've got personal experiences with this. I attended Syracuse, and look, at the time that I was there in the late 90s, early aughts, there was already talk of, man, Jim's been around a long time, and I wonder if the game has passed him by. And how much longer for Jim? I mean, by the time that I graduated, he was there for nearly 25 years, and from the glory years of the 80s and early 90s, I was there before the resurgence in 2003 with the national championship game. There were some first-round exits and, God forbid, an NIT in there as well. And so there was some thoughts that, hey, it's never going to be like it once was with the Dome in the 80s and the Big East. And so can Jim keep this thing going? And that's now 20-some-odd years ago. So the longevity of Boeheim is undeniable. He was a survivor. He was a lifer. He was a program builder. And most of all, he was a fighter. He fought everything, everyone, opponents, refs, media, critics, fans, sometimes his own players. He was a brawler. And with that as the backdrop, I thought about this yesterday. It was a very unceremonious exit. Syracuse had a losing season this year. There was no way they were going to make the NCAA tournament unless they won the ACC tourney. There was no way they were going to win the ACC tourney. They're just not very good. It'd be back-to-back non-tournament seasons. And this year, out of all of them, felt the saddest because not only were they bad, but he had a young team with a really, I don't want to say highly touted recruiting class, but a pretty good recruiting class. And it just felt like he was the wrong guy to get them to play together at their best. On top of the sniping during post games and battles with student media and denying that there was any problems and admitting he didn't want to do what modern college basketball would mandate you to do to win. It got uncomfortable and ugly and bitter from him at the end. And then when they were one and done of the ACC tournament yesterday, the administration saw their opening. And there's no doubt about it, he did not want to go. He wanted to go into year number 48. But I'm going to say this. You're going to hear a lot of platitudes for Jim Boeheim this morning. Whoever does talk about it, and the sad part is that a guy that's been there nearly 50 years, who's won a national championship, who is the second most winningest coach in college basketball history, isn't even the most important sports story today. That's how far, A, Syracuse basketball has fallen off the radar, and B, I think college basketball as well. Today, it's going to be about Kevin Durant and the injury. It's going to be about Lamar Jackson and the tag. It's going to be about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. That's going to be your stories today. And that speaks to, again, college basketball's importance deficit that it faces, and that SU basketball is not top of mind for a lot of people. And that's something that happened under Jim Boeheim's watch. But I'll say this with the context of what I just said. How Boeheim went out yesterday was perfectly on brand. It is where we begin your cold open.
I've been just unbelievably fortunate to be able to keep this job. Mike Bray's thrilled that he was at Notre Dame 23 years. He's a puppy. You know, I've had 47 years. I got to coach my sons. I've just been lucky to be able to coach this long. I think you missed it. I gave my retirement speech on the court last Saturday, and I gave it in the press conference afterwards, and nobody except William Payne figured it out.
I don't believe it!
The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending.
It's DA's top story.
Here he goes.
It's your cold open.
I mean, so at the end of the run here, Boeheim says, I gave my retirement speech, but you guys were too stupid to notice. Then he's asked, so you're retiring? And he says, no. And then he can't give you a straight answer on whose decision it's going to be, except just basically ask them. Okay, so we're going to do this. And this is so on brand for Boeheim because he built a program on brawling. He brawled in the early days of the Big East. He brawled with his opponents. He brawled with the referees. He brawled with the media. He was always a fighter. And because he's always been a fighter, Jim Boeheim could not just go out on a happy so-long farewell tour. I mean, had he just relented and been like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have one more happy go-around. He could have said I'm retiring before the season like Coach K did and gotten his applause for the entire year. Hell, midway through the season when he saw it was going poorly, and I'm sure the administration was taking the temperature, he could have said, you know what? I'm going to announce it now. If he did get the sense that they were going to push him out after this postseason, whatever this was in the ACC tournament in Greensboro, he could have just for a couple of days leaked, this is going to be my last tournament, and got some applause. But he couldn't do it. He simply could not just put down the armor for a second. And so I look at this sadly because it was a guy built with so much ego, and that combat was so deep inside his DNA. All he needed to do was for a week admit, now I'm done. And he would have at least gotten the applause, the appreciation that I think he thinks he deserves, the respect, but he couldn't do it. And so he goes out brawling like he came in, sniping with the media. His final press conference is going to be, you guys were too stupid to pick up on it, and word games about who said what and when, and you. It was like, wow, that's going to be the way you go out. But that's the problem here, is that Jim was never going to make this easy. And so before anybody, and I've got issues with this athletic department throughout the years and decisions that the university makes. You're not talking to an alumni here that is dyed-to-the-wool orange. Before I hear anybody take a microphone or write a piece today about how Syracuse was unfair to Jim Boeheim, that is the wrong take. He had every opportunity to wave goodbye happily and go into the sunset, and he refused. And if you think that Syracuse didn't need a change, you really weren't paying attention. And this is what also happens, is that there's alumni that don't watch every basketball game, that only swoop in March. And every few Marches, Syracuse goes on a tournament run, and it's like, oh yeah, look, and there's Jim Boeheim on the sideline. The program had fallen off. It had flatlined. And a couple of weeks ago, and I did this story and talked about it extensively, when he, ripped student media for the second time this season. I mean, it's like eye roll, but fine. But then launches into a tirade about how the sport sucks. All the great coaches have already left. It's in a terrible place, and everybody cheats but him. Does that sound like somebody you want pushing your program forward during a college basketball landscape that clearly is changed and changing? He left the administration no choice. The program had flatlined. The recruits he got, he couldn't make better. And he was openly admitting, I don't want to do the job that it takes to win basketball games anymore. This is not the sport that I like anymore. Well, what are you going to do? Let him just keep coming back because he wants to? PJ Carlesimo called it a, quote, disgrace that he wasn't allowed to come back. You can't just let people keep coming in the door because they want to come to work. They've actually still got to be good at it. And does Jim Boeheim deserve a lot of respect for his 50 years at the helm? Obviously. Nobody's denying that. But this couldn't just be he gets to coach as long as he wants to coach. That's not how this works. He's actually got to still deliver. And if I came into work every day and complained and said, I don't want to do the show the way that you guys want me to do, and I said the bosses are always wrong and all the good hosts left, would you guys want to listen to that show? I mean, he sucked all of the joy out of watching Syracuse basketball because he was bickering and fighting about everything. And I hate to boil it down to just this, but Jim Boeheim became an angry old man yelling angry old things at everybody and everything. You know, you're not left with much choice but to say, hey, we got a reboot here. So I just don't want to hear it that the administration was unfair to him. Was this a clunky, messy way for it to end? Yes. Was he happy? No. Did he want to go? No. But they couldn't just keep the doors unlocked in perpetuity just because he didn't want to leave. They had done that like for about 7 years now. I mean, really, there was already a plan set up for Mike Hopkins to be the next head coach a decade ago. And that came and went, and Hop left. And he was like, look, I'm just not going to wait this thing out. This has been nearly a decade of them going like, hey, when are you thinking about it? Hey, can we put in a succession plan? What's your timeline? And he just would never say anything. No, I'm just coming to work tomorrow. Yeah, well, this is a two-way street. And Jim, I think, had outgrown the idea that it was ever a two-way street. It was a one-way street for him. As long as I want to be here, I'll be here. And all you idiots don't know anything. Yeah, well, you know what you get when it finally is over? It's ugly at the end. I'm looking at Mike Bray. And Mike Bray seems like the happiest guy in the world that Notre Dame's pushing him out. I mean, Mike Bray seems like he's on cloud nine that the only program he's known for 23 years is saying, get out of here. You know, the guy is the happiest guy in the world. 855-212-4CBS or on Twitter, DA on CBS. I'm sure I've got a few more thoughts on this as we make our way through the morning. I'll try for this not to be a Boeheim-centric show because I know that that's my wheelhouse, not necessarily everybody else's, but I've got a lot of thoughts on this. All right, when we come back here on the show, we've got Soundcheck, your best audio of the day. David Carr has some thoughts on Josh McDaniels' desires. We've got some Golden Corral friendly fire. And what type of people fly these days? DA, CBS Sports Radio. Oh, man. Spring is coming, and sleep is essential to your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. What if you could know what's happening in your body while you're sleeping and how your nights are impacting your days? Well, guess what? With the Sleep Number Smart Bed, you can.
So Moraz just walked out of the studios, and he's like shaking his head. He's so upset. He's not eaten in 6 hours now, 5 hours, and he's looking at this disgusting cauliflower, and he's going to make it. Wait till you see this guy. He's so depressed.
There's nothing on it. It's disgusting.
You're really hurting.
I have a headache. I haven't eaten in like 7 hours.
Not 7. 6.5. No, 5.5.
1:50 to 7:30.
So it's almost 2 o'clock. 5.5 hours.
That's a long time for me. I'm not built to last. There's some leftover Chinese soy sauce. Am I allowed to get that involved?
No.
Come on. I would have gotten involved if you didn't bring the camera out here. Ben, what's up? smells awful. What's the proper heat time on a cauliflower? 2 minutes?
When's the last time you ate cauliflower?
2-3 years ago when I knew I didn't like it. Danielle made me try it.
It's amazing because Mraz is really hurt. He's very low energy today. He's got headaches.
He's not even forced enough. They gotta eat this with a spoon.
He's very testy.
I'm not myself. I'm hangry. I'm like that Snickers commercial. Marsha, have a Snickers.
I want to see what it looks like when Mraz finally eats his first cauliflower in 3 years.
I just hope I'm satisfied. I'm looking for satisfaction. Is that a word?
Satisfaction?
Like the song. No, that's not how.
I can't get no satisfaction.
Does this need a full 2 minutes? What would you say?
No, you just take it out.
You don't smell good. I'm getting one down there. You know what? I owe it to Joe to eat it in front of him. I do. He won the bet, right? Got a lot of fat headshots there, too. This camera makes it feel like we're walking through the Cowboys tunnel. On the All right.
Finally paying off this bet. This was a great idea, not allowing Mraz to eat anything for 8 hours except cauliflower. He's going to do it, Joe.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it, DA. Wow, that was quick.
He's so hungry.
Oh, full bag. Oh, it's nasty. There's not no flavor.
That's the only thing you can eat all day today and all day
So
tomorrow.
dry.
Hey, steam, just like I told you.
Oh.
You gonna yak? You need a garbage?
I'm not interested. That's disgusting. Why would they make that? Who grows that?
This is great. So you're not going to eat any more?
I mean, I'm going to leave that to next week. There's no way I'm eating this whole thing. Put that away for tomorrow.
Hey.
Don't make more.
How about this? If you eat the whole thing tonight, you get off the hook for tomorrow.
No.
It's a lot of cauliflower.
That is a lot of cauliflower.
There's no way I could even do that mathematically, physically.
No, I like 2 days of pain.
Seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
CBS presents this program in color.
An educated person can't think he's going to get a recruit by strippers coming in.
They can fire you, but they can't eat you.
And they run through our ass like through a tin horn, man, and we could not stop them.
The audio you need to hear. It's DA Soundcheck.
Oh, Dr. PGP is out. Permission Granted Podcast. That's the show about the show. Check it out inside your free Odyssey app or anywhere that you get your podcasts. The Permission Granted Podcast. We start with David Carr, not Derek, David Carr, NFL Network analyst, on the type of QB he believes that Josh McDaniels wants, notably not his brother.
I would say what happened is in New England, Tom Brady ran the show. So he was able to bully Josh, and he would just say, this is what we're going to do. And if Josh said no, he would go to Bill's office. And if Bill said no, he'd go to Robert Kraft. Trade Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't need him in here causing a problem. Jimmy Garoppolo gets traded, right? Yeah. So I think that's what happened. I think that when they were in New England, Tom ran his stuff. Tom is a guy historically that gets to the line of scrimmage, picks the play he wants to run, right? You give me a set formation, give me in and out of good play, bad play, then that's what I'm gonna do. Right? That's what Peyton Manning did. That's what Tom did. I think that what Josh wants to do is Josh feels like, and maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, time will tell. He feels like he can guess right most of the time from the sideline, which is almost impossible to do in this day and age. But Derek does say he's a smart guy. Like he's a football genius. Like he gets it, right? So I think for Josh, he's going to get a guy that he can not control, but tell where to throw the ball. That
got cut off there at the end.
Yeah, it was a bad edit.
Oh, so David Carr clearly has some inside intel on this because his brother's Derek Carr, and he had a season over there with Mr. Josh McDaniels. And I think that story that he talks about with Tom Brady, I think tracks. That Tom Brady had earned the right, I think, in my estimation, to run the offense as he saw fit. And if he went to Josh and Josh said no, he went to Bill. And if Bill said no, he went to Robert until he got the yes that he wanted. And I'm sure not all of those guys were thrilled with it. But ultimately, I mean, who gets the last laugh? I mean, Tom Brady's the guy that could win a championship after he left. And since he's left them, they've done nothing of success, nothing of note. Neither one of them. So I think that if anything you take out of that story, it's like, yeah, Brady was right. He's vindicated. And if Josh McDaniels just wants a guy that's going to execute his game plan, that's fine. I'd be surprised if Derek Carr didn't want to be that guy. I mean, I know Derek Carr's been around a bit, but I would just think that Derek Carr would trust a play caller that has won a couple of championships and done it with Tom Brady. But again, we'll see if Josh McDaniels' control over an offense is the one that works, because he's had control over the offense a couple of times in his NFL career, both in Denver and now in Vegas, and neither stint has been that successful, especially offensively. Next up is Mets manager Buck Showalter taking a run at a favorite here on the DA Show.
Can't get anybody to go with me. The Golden Corral, that's my kind of place.
We can all go. Yeah.
My wife won't go because she said anybody that's breathing over the salad bar, she's not going. Something about the food there and people just breathing over it.
We're learning a lot about Buck Showalter's home life, and specifically his wife. Number one, that she has 4.5 sized feet, and that's so small, it's almost dwarf-like, and they have to shop for shoes in the little girl section for his wife, and that's not even an exaggeration. That's something he said. And then secondly, that he'd like to go to the Golden Corral, but his wife doesn't want to go with him for what I think is a very valid reason. You don't want strangers breathing over your salad. Now, I'm guessing that there's a salad sneeze guard.
Yeah. Isn't the Golden Corral, though, a buffet? I still have never been to a Golden Corral.
Yeah, but there's a salad bar, I'm sure.
Right, but it can't just be breathing over the salad. It's probably breathing over everything, right?
And I'm pretty sure that's where they had that nasty brawl, I think, in Pennsylvania we discussed on the show one morning.
Yeah, we looked up the closest Golden Corral, and I think that might have been it.
Yeah.
But they have those mirror or window
sneeze guard.
Yeah, they have those. It was the last time I was in there, which was probably maybe 5 years ago. It looked pretty clean.
Wow, so you've been to a corral in the last 5 years?
In Florida.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That's got to be way more recently than any of us.
I've never been. It's really like one of the things I can't die before seeing.
It's actually the best of the buffet chain places, I think.
Oh, wow. So you've never been to a corral because there's not one near you.
Yeah, and one of those things I've been to Florida, but maybe just not top of mind to go when I've been in Florida. It's usually that was reserved for a long time. Chick-fil-A steak and shake, Duffy's, that kind of stuff. Grandpa always wanted the Olive Garden. But yeah, that's kind of, I've never been. I did the Old Country Buffet before they closed down. I did the Sizzler back in the day. And up here, the Chinese food buffets are still prevalent, and I like that. I like a good Chinese food buffet.
Bogues, have you been to a corral?
I have not, and I'm not even sure that I've seen one in person.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean...
That's so.
Wow.
Not that
do
I'm a world
exist.
traveler. I know they exist, but I've never even been around one to go, should we go there?
Well, I'm sure you've passed one.
I guess.
But it didn't grab your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time I was at a Golden Corral was, but I'm glad to know that Pete's hit one up in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it reminded me of Sizzler. It reminded me of that. It brought back some good feeling, and it was what it is.
What was do you remember what you ate there that you either enjoyed or didn't enjoy?
The meats. They had a lot of good meat.
Okay, they did.
They had some ham, some chicken, a turkey. I thought it was pretty good.
Is it still reasonably priced?
Then it was, and then now we're.
Oh yeah,
everything is
so you did
overpriced,
pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Now, do you order your entree and then the buffet is only sides and appetizers, or you go up there and there's like sliced?
It's a one price fits all.
Okay.
Yes. You go in there, it's probably $28.99 or something like that.
Yeah, like
you go in there and
$20, something like that. Yeah.
You eat everything of everything.
Because Sizzler was just a salad bar, right? Like Sizzler, you ordered food and then you went to the buffet for extra stuff.
Salad bar plus.
It was a hybrid. It was the original hybrid instead of a car. You could order standalone meals, but they also, on top of the salad bar, had a better version of what like a Texas Day Brazil will have, where you can get meats and cheeses and pastas and stuff at the salad bar.
But they didn't have like a carving station at Sizzler. I don't remember that. Like you couldn't go up there and get like sliced roast beef or like a nice thing of chicken.
It's been a long time. I used to go to the one in Massapequa, Long Island. I think you ordered like your steaks to, what do you call it? Steaks to order? Like that kind of thing?
Yeah, to temperature. And then you just sit down and
you could go up and let's say there might have been a ham and some chicken. Like that kind of stuff happened.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Well, it's interesting. Golden Corral's slogan these days is, it's the only one for everyone.
Oh, I like that.
Because you can get any type of food that you want, but there's no prices online, so...
It's probably different per market price.
Yeah. I'm looking at the menu's okay. You're going to get your meatloaf. It says very generally or generically baked fish.
Yeah, usually a cod.
Quote,
yeah, what's fresh that day?
I'll lay off the fish there.
Featured pork entree. Bourbon Street chicken.
I like a Bourbon Street chicken.
That's right. They had that. It was excellent.
Pot pie or chicken and noodle.
What do you mean or? It's a buffet. Can I get both?
That's a soup.
Pot
pie?
I guess maybe they flip it each day. Maybe there's one on one day, one on another.
Pizzas. Multiple.
Right. The flatbread or the French bread.
I would have thought with pepperoni or without.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
And then, your hot lunch sides. There's a corn, mashed taters and gravy, scallop potatoes, Mexican rice, Italian pasta bake. Your good old-fashioned traditional favorites.
I do have to say, a lot of times these buffets, whenever you get the taters and you throw the gravy, whatever gravy they offer, that gravy is like throwing sandbags on a body you dump in the ocean. Like it sits inside of me. It warms me up and it just weighs me down.
Out of the four of us, whose wife would be most into going to a Golden Corral? Because that's the point here, is that Buck wants to go, but his wife says no way because the patrons are breathing on my salad.
See, I wouldn't classify my wife as being into it, but she wouldn't be like Buck's wife and being resistant to it. I mean, we just did eat at a buffet called the Loose Moose last week. So my wife's generally like, all right, we're hungry. We got to eat. All right, if this is it, this is it. But she will not go out of her way to be like, we should be going here.
If this is it, this is it. Almost like your final breath on earth.
Right.
That's their secondary slogan at Golden Corral. We're all you've got. Or if this is it, this is it.
We're the only ones here.
We're the only ones.
Fuddruckers closed.
Fuddruckers.
Yeah. I think if it was a little more like kids centric, my wife would want to go. Like if there was a Loose Moose or a Vivica B Fox walking around, but I don't think she'd want to go.
There wasn't a Loose Moose walking around. The name was just the Loose Moose.
I don't.
You were the Loose Moose,
right?
Fish.
No, he was the Tight Moose apparently.
Tight Moose.
I don't think she'd want to go just to go.
Okay.
In fact, she probably would want to stay hungry as opposed to going to Golden Corral.
Yeah, a little bit of a mix for Bridget. It would be if it's something for Timmy, or there's nothing else left, she would go. But if there's something else around, she'd probably go to the other place.
My wife has quite a nostalgia for kind of like American institutions.
Yes.
Her grandparents lived in Myrtle Beach for a long time, so she loves that part of Americana. So I think I could convince the Bourbon Belle to go to a Golden Corral. I don't think there's a lot she would find that she would want to eat, I think I think we'd get there and she'd be like, well.
You'd have like a 20-minute grace period, and then reality would sink in.
I think I could probably get her there.
You know what the problem is, and you're saying like not allowed to eat. At these places, the salad bar should be your strength.
Right.
Like it's relatively cheap. You should have like the best kind of lettuce, but the salad bars at these places oftentimes are the worst parts of it. Like you get the crummiest, what happened to that salad? These croutons 4 days old.
It's not a priority because I think they know most of their clientele is not there for the salad. Basically, most of the clientele that goes to a corral throws a couple of pieces of lettuce on the side to make it feel like they had vegetables that day.
That's probably
true. But
they
don't. Then they pour the steak gravy over top of the lettuce.
I did get yelled at. I told Danielle I had a whole plate of lettuce, and she screamed at me that I had a third of a plate of lettuce.
I also feel like salad bars end up being somewhat like our urinal toilet conversation yesterday. Like that, if you're doing number one in a stall, you need to be more clean about it. The salad bar, things are getting mixed and matched.
Yeah.
Dressings are spilling over. Where are the tongs? We do not handle it well as humans either.
You know what place was? You know what? Place was bad with that. Ruby Tuesdays. There was stuff everywhere over that salad bar. You didn't want to have a salad after that.
I feel like my best chance to sell a corral to the Bourbon Bell would be like, let's go play mini golf. She's totally into that. We'll do some skee ball. She's totally into that. And then I'm like, and we'll wrap up with the corral. And she might be won over because it's like a night of Americana.
I love that idea. That's a perfect date night. And I know me and everything that goes on internally me, you have to wrap it up with the Golden Corral. I'm not walking 9 holes after the Golden Corral. Then you will have a loose moose.
Everything that goes on with me internally. Do you understand that basically every decision you make is connected to the closest bathroom?
That's right.
That's the way you gotta live life sometimes.
That's right.
No, it's not sometimes. It's all the time.
If we can just have like a portable porta potty for Mraz that he can drag behind him.
Or like some kind of self-cleaning
like a dog
diaper.
on a leash.
Like a litter box type thing in his undercarriage that can like absorb and like just then a little like coal shoots out the back and he's done.
You need Lou on a leash.
I love it. It's kind of like when you show up to a high school game and you have the padding for the bleachers under your arm. I just walk around with that under my arm at all times. Hold on, honey.
Yeah. Finally, here is Sports Talk host Mad Dog Chris Russo on his show on Sirius XM about people traveling on planes.
And one other thing on the planes before I take another quick break. When you're in mid-air crisis, as all these people are, how do people think about taking cell phone pictures? I understand. You got babies that end up in different rows. You got stewards and the flight attendants up there, heads hitting roofs. You got trays of food all over the place. People barfing with the barf bags all over the plane. And you got all these fans out there on TikTok taking the photographs. Well, they sell it in the TMZ. They're about to go down in flames, say goodnight to the world, chuck out, and they're taking photographs on their phone. It's the amazing. Isn't that the last thing you think about? Honey, we're about to crash. Take some pictures just for the hell of it. I don't understand. When we go nose first into the ocean, take a couple of pictures just in case they find the camera floating like Castaway and Tom Hanks 20 years from now. We get out fake pictures of our last moments. What? It's on. They save it on these SoundCloud, whatever it's thing called, the iCloud. I don't understand it. What are people doing?
Wow. That has it all right there.
If you've never met Chris, that is him all encapsulated in 2 minutes.
Was there an incident recently where there was turbulence on a plane and somebody was taking videos?
So I've definitely seen these videos. I don't know if there was something specific. This was just the cut I saw that Marco put in the system. I was like,
Marco Bloody put this in the system for updates.
There's like a folder for funny stuff that we can do and other shit. And I was like, this is too good. Especially at the yesterday's journal debate. Is this a thing? Should you be doing this?
It's a thing that happens in every part of life. Why do we have so many brawl videos? Why do we have so many videos of just things going haywire in a restaurant, in an airplane, airport, bus stop? I mean, no matter what happens, people just break out their phones. And concerts, I'm sure you see this all the time at Dave concerts. Most people would rather just hold up their phone at the best moments instead of actually
guilty
experiencing it. So.
Although, I would still argue that I'm experiencing it while I'm also videotaping so I can experience it again after the fact.
Well, did you see that photo in the Super Bowl of, maybe
it was the LeBron shot.
The NBA Finals? Oh, yes, you're right.
The LeBron
when
shot.
LeBron broke the all-time scoring record, there was a photo of the moment, and every single person in the stands had their phone out. And then
the one guy.
And then they had a photo next to that, I think, of Michael Jordan's final shot in 98. And nobody, of course, had a cell phone to take anything. And it was, this. You're comparing the two eras where everybody's just experiencing everything through their phone. So, yeah, imagine this happens in planes, but that's not that surprising.
I guess but he brings up a good point, though. Like, if you really are fearful the plane's going down, what are you saving the pictures for and putting them out?
Well, I think part of it is nobody's actually that scared that planes do go down. I've been in a few planes and I'm like, oh my God, this turbulence is so bad. I'm like really scared for my life here. But how often do you really hit bad turbulence and you really, really believe this is it?
Yeah,
all the time for me.
Really?
I am not a good flyer.
And so you fear for your life when that happens.
When I hit turbulence, it's self-medicating time. It's get the alcohol out.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that too. I get scared with that.
I think turbulence rocks me to sleep. And if I pass out and then we crash and I die asleep, then that's the way I should have gone.
It rocks you to sleep.
It does.
Massive
I sleep very well in turbulence. I like being bumped around.
Okay. Have you guys ever had turbulence things in the car fly, like the cart or drinks or babies, as Chris Russo just said?
I've had the compartment open, but nothing came out. And one time my kid was getting sick because of it. There were no barf bags, and the stewardess wouldn't get out of her seat. She's like, can't get out. Like she's just kind of shrugged, like, I can't come help you right now.
I was only in one flight ever, and it was that bad, and the cart came up and the drinks spilled. That was really, that was scary.
Same thing. Somebody bloodied their elbow. We were landing in St. Thomas during a tropical storm. For some reason, the guy thought he could land, and we went down. Wind kicked us up. We had to go back up, circle around Puerto Rico for an hour before we could land again.
Oh.
Brutal spot. And then as we were landing again, everybody's like, are we sure? Are we sure? And somehow he got this plane down. We were stunned that we even took off from JFK to begin with.
Oh, wow. There you go. That's your sound check.
Grim.
We end on a high note.
Also point out that Chris paused there to not be sexist and change stewardess, whatever he's going to say, to flight attendant.
Yeah. He said stewards and flight attendants, which means the last time that Chris flew was Pan Am in 1974.
And also he's going to save everything to SoundCloud.
TWA in 1985.
Yeah, saved all his pictures to SoundCloud. Bogues' headline.
And they're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. Kevin Durant did not make his son's home debut last night. His left ankle buckling when he slipped going up for a layup in pregame warm-ups. Devin Booker stepped in with 44 in a 132-101 rout of the Thunder.
The city's been waiting on this. It's a big day. We'll reschedule the party. I'm sure they'll be back. People that missed out on tonight, I try to give them a little something to make it better.
Durant left the arena in a walking boot. He'll get an MRI as soon as today. Luka Doncic needs one of those too after hurting his left thigh last night in New Orleans. Without him, the Mavs let CJ McCollum score 13 points in the final 4 minutes to get the Pels a 113-106 victory. The Clippers fought off the Raptors 108-100. The Bulls a surprising 117-96 win in Denver. They're now a game behind the Wizards for the final play-in spot since Washington took a 122-120 home loss from Atlanta, despite a career-high 43 from
Kristaps Porzingis.
The Celtics snapped out of their funk with a 115-93 home win over the Blazers, and the Cavs got a 104-100 win in Miami. Darius Garland, 25 points and 7 assists. First, Colgate created a tooth dynasty. Now it's Patriot League men's basketball.
T-shirts twirl in the far crowd. 5, 4, 3, 2. The Colgate Raiders are going back to the big dance. Colgate clinches a Patriot League record-tying 6th tournament title and becomes the first team in the Patriot to three-peat in 2 decades.
That's John Sadak on Westwood One, the rare
three-peat game?
The rare three-peat, courtesy of a 79-61 rout of Lafayette. Tucker Richardson had 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. The first triple-double in the Patriot finale since O'Donnell Foyle did it for Colgate back in 97.
The great O'Donnell Foyle.
Wow. That's mint.
Madness.
Montana State beat Northern Arizona 85-78 in the Big Sky title game, and Texas A&M Corpus Christi fought off Northwestern State 75-71 to win the Southland bid. Both the Bobcats and the Islanders danced last spring, too. Jim Boeheim is not the only coaching news in college hoops. Mark Adams stepping down at Texas Tech after making a racially insensitive comment to players, and fired Texas coach Chris Beard, the reported favorite for the Ole Miss job. And on ice last night, the Red Wings snapped a 6-game skid, 4-3 over Chicago, and the Wild extended their point streak to 11, 4-2 in loser peg. Marc-Andre Fleury with 46 saves. DA, back to you.
3 years later, that never gets old. When we come back on the show, can Calvin Ridley be the Jags' number 1? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5
This is the one we expect to probably get some giggles out of, right, James? James is anxious for this one. It's the 15th and final question. What's the predominant language of Brazil?
Is Mraz going to survive?
Okay. We're going to reason with ourselves here. You would expect me to say Brazilian, obviously, which would cause giggles. Oh, man. Oh, it's not Spanish. Oh. You know what? No, I'm going to go back to my original methods.
Oh, no.
Does it get this cold in Japan?
Brazil is near
like 45 seconds.
Rio, Egyptian.
Holy crap.
You're failures!
No way. No way.
They're near each other?
No way.
What other country speaks a different language that's near it?
No way. No, there's no...
I was going to say Rio-Anese, but I know that that's just the city.
Rio-Anese. The two questions were Egyptian, the two answers, and Rio-Anese.
Are you okay, mister?
I was convinced there's no language you could give me that would make me laugh, and I was dead wrong.
What, can I get the real language? The pyramids are in Egypt.
Right.
That's in Africa.
Okay.
Okay, and that's where Brazil is. Or not.
Not.
Well, where could it be then? Come on, where is it then?
Soundtrack of his life.
Oh my goodness.
South America? Is it South America? Oh, that's why the time zone thing isn't a big deal for the Olympics then. That would make sense. Idiots.
Oh, okay.
Do they speak Chile?
That's right.
Yes, they speak Chile.
Oh, that's...
You still haven't given me the answer. What is the answer?
The answer is Portuguese.
Screw you, Portugal!
Portuguese.
That makes sense.
You were close.
That makes sense. I was close.
Epic fail, you loser.
That is why you fail.
Epic fail.
I don't know how it could be more shocking to hear something you have heard 50 times, but I'm actually now more shocked than I was at the time. I don't know. Every time I hear it, I'm more shocked. And I guess it's just to pick up on how Mraz's brain works. But the fact that he thought Brazil was in Africa and picked Egypt, basically because that's the only country he probably knows in Africa, is remarkable. To think that he connected the dots that in Brazil they must speak Egyptian.
The wheels were off the wagon at that point.
I have said this before. Mraz is actually a quick, witty guy, as evidenced by this show. But his actual education is a disaster. And I think that's two-pronged. I think, number one, his commitment level to anything he doesn't want to do is remarkably low for a human being. If he doesn't want to work, he will do the least amount of work, sometimes negative work. And if he doesn't want to learn, he just simply will not. And so I think that's just what happened. But how he was allowed to graduate high school and be pushed through all those grades and then college is a total failure of the American education system. He is the worst example of the American education system. He connected the dots that because Brazil was close to Egypt and Africa, they must speak Egyptian. I mean, all of that is just so mind-blowingly stupid.
Is it Deers or Die?
It never stops.
.45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
All right, happy Thursday to you. It's a Thirsty Thursday. We'll get to our toast coming up here shortly, but also you can always watch the DA Show. Check it out at watchda.com, also on Twitch, also on YouTube. Pop up the YouTube app on your phone and watch the DA Show by going to the CBS Sports Radio channel. Calvin Ridley is back after his year-long suspension, eligible this year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Remember, he was suspended for the year for his involvement in online betting. Here's Calvin Ridley.
It's going to be amazing for my mom, for my family, for me. It's just going to be a weight off my shoulders because I waited so long to get back to this point, and just, be excited to run through that tunnel and, show every Jacksonville Jaguar fan who I am.
So this was an interesting acquisition by the Jaguars, bringing in a guy that was ineligible to play all of last season. But his last full season, 2020, that was the pandemic season, he caught 90 balls for more than 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. He's only 26 years old. Now, there's going to be some rust naturally, and Ridley is going to take some time, I'm sure, to get back into the swing of things. But boy, to me, this is such a huge addition for a Jaguars team that already had a couple of good weapons for Trevor Lawrence last season. Whereas I got to say that I know it's a long play that the Jaguars brought in without getting any performance last season. But when you look at it a year later, 26-year-old Calvin Ridley added to that offense, that's a big win for Jacksonville.
Yeah, and it wasn't something everybody paid a lot of attention to because it didn't matter to last year's deadline, but seeing what the Jaguars became and seeing how Trevor Lawrence is growing and seeing that they already have a bunch of good number twos, this is huge. And look at the price that some of these teams might have to pay for a Hopkins or whoever else this offseason.
We've seen this the last couple of years where if you have a young quarterback and you believe that he could be a franchise guy, you try to give him as many weapons as humanly possible to exploit that. The Eagles did that to perfection with Jalen Hurts last season.
And honestly, if he didn't get hurt, we would have said the same thing about Tua going with Tyreek Hill and Waddle.
Right. And the Jaguars tried to do the same thing with Trevor Lawrence. They drafted Travis Etienne. They signed Christian Kirk to a deal that everybody thought was crazy. And now they've acquired Calvin Ridley. And that's an offense that's going to be really interesting. And if you're going to try to get the most out of Trevor Lawrence, acquiring Ridley and Kirk and giving him those two guys, you've got some good weapons.
Yeah, they are a contender to make an AFC title game next year.
AFC title game?
Yeah, they were just in the divisional round.
Right.
And you think Trevor Lawrence probably takes the next step. Why can't they be there next year?
Well, you'd have to hop, if we assume it's the Chiefs in the AFC title game,
Yeah.
you have to hop Bengals and Bills.
Correct. The Bengals did it 2 years ago out of nowhere with Burrow. Why couldn't the Jaguars do that? And they have a coach that's already won a Super Bowl.
And how's that division now look this year?
The Titans, who knows who's playing for them? The Texans still need a quarterback. They're going to draft a rookie, you assume. And honestly, who's the other team?
Colts.
The Colts. Who knows about their quarterback position? The Jaguars should win that division closing their eyes next year.
Closing their eyes?
Close them. Just close them,
You
and
think
you win.
December 15th division, AFC South wrapped up, Jaguars have 12 wins, and it's it's a breeze.
There's a difference. They should win the division in their sleep. The question is, how many wins do they have to raise their seeding up a little bit? They should go 6-0 in the division. Can they go get 7 wins elsewhere and contend for the bye? Let's see.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot to ask.
I know it's asking a lot, but it's okay to project that teams take a big next step. The Jaguars should be that team that takes the big next step.
Is it too sexy to call them next year's AFC Championship game?
I don't even think it's hot takey. I think it's realistic if you think about the way that these title games have gone the last couple of years.
Okay. I really like this Calvin Ridley edition for the Jaguars, and I love surrounding a good young QB with as much talent as possible. And they got him on the cheap. Speaking about getting on the cheap, how about the quarterback interviews at the Combine? Apparently, not so great.
You're in a 5-minute break.
We're almost at halftime here, guys, as Mraz is trying to plow his way through 30 sliders and 20 chicken rings. Mraz, what's the tally right now?
I've gotten down 6 chicken rings and 15 sliders.
So we're officially halfway through the sliders. There's still more than half to go to the chicken rings. And your pace early was incredible, but I got to tell you, Mraz, you've been really slowing down and looking quite sickly over the last 3 to 4 burgers.
Yeah, you know what it was? I got out of the gates quickly, hard, fast, and that's good because I've gotten a lot down, but I'm hurting myself by not being slow and steady. So I think for the rest of the night, I have another 5 hours to go where I really got to slow down the pace. A burger a minute is not going to help the rest of the evening.
No, the opening 5 to 10 minutes was something like I've never seen. It was a demolition derby. I mean, I couldn't even keep up with how quickly you were eating the burgers. But now you have 5 hours to do this. That's only 3 burgers an hour.
Which is why I said you had to get out of the gates fast. I think I could take care of business here. An hour, basically a burger every segment, I'm good to go.
A burger every segment. Yes, that's that's basically what we're looking for right now.
No limits.
A burger every segment. Let that sink in, everybody.
Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Mornings are hard. Your sports radio show doesn't have to be.
I'm so happy you guys are still alive.
I am excited.
I am so happy. Laugh and learn every morning aboard the mothership.
Ooh. Have a good day. And all my homies gonna ride today. And all these mommies look fly today. And all we wanna do is get by today. Hey, we're gonna have a good day.
It's gonna be a good day with DA.
Hey, duh.
I do love the duh.
Happy Being Alive Day.
Mornings on CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah! Happy Being Alive Day, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us here aboard the Da. Coming your way in 20 minutes, it's a Thirsty Thursday. We're toasting to the good stuff. What is it in your life that's making you feel good and do well?
Well, I feel good and I'm doing well.
We're toasting to that today, as we do every single week, in 20 minutes, in 40 minutes. We've got perhaps the most famous play in baseball history with a twist.
Okay.
It's coming your way this hour. We know over the Combine weekend that Anthony Richardson absolutely lit it up. One of the most athletic quarterbacks we've ever seen at the Scouting Combine, which is fine. As I've said before, I don't get all hot and bothered over Combine workout freaks. I am old enough to remember the Mike Mamulas of the world. Those little drills that you do in shorts and T-shirts and sneakers have nothing to do in my mind of anything that I see on Sundays in the NFL. Oh, yeah. You want your quarterback to be mobile. You want your quarterback to be elusive. You want your quarterback to have a strong arm. You want your quarterback to be athletic. But Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow weren't Scouting Combine freaks. Neither was Tom Brady or Joe Montana. I don't imagine that Peyton Manning was a Combine freak. I don't really need Anthony Richardson to set records for high jumps or verticals or long jumps or even 40s. Playing quarterback in the NFL is about so many other things. But it's late February, early March. It's football. We drool for football. And here's a young guy, like all of these young guys coming into the draft, coming into the league, and they represent potential, belief, hope. And when somebody does something really historic at the Combine, people go goo goo gaga over it. I'm also not compelled to believe you have to interview well there either. I think it's somewhat of a window into your personality. But some of the questions that they're asked to me are so stupid. Like if I was hiring for Mraz's position, let's just say that he took over afternoon drive in Grand Rapids.
Again with the Grand Rapids?
It's a good market.
I got 28 years left on my mortgage here, pal.
All right. How about mornings in Tucson?
Warmer. Okay.
Mraz takes mornings in Tucson. It's Big Baby in the landfill, mornings in Tucson.
Glenn Davis is moving there with me.
It's you and Glenn Davis hosting the show.
Yeah, it's not a bad show.
It's actually not a bad show. So Mraz leaves to take the morning drive show in Tucson, Big Baby in the landfill.
The imaging is great.
Big Baby and the landfill, or Big Baby
You
in the landfill?
might have just came up with a long-lasting morning show for the next 30 years in Tucson.
And I were to bring in a couple of people to interview for the job. You know what I wouldn't ask them? Do you view yourself more as a dog or a cat?
I would.
Some of the draft questions are so dumb. I mean, let's just say that Patrick Mahomes.
It's better than saying your last producer was a pig, so I guess either answer is good.
Let's just say Patrick Mahomes said, you know what? I kind of view myself more as a cat. And you're like, oh, God, wrong answer. We can't take him. I mean, imagine how stupid that would be. So my point is, I think the combine kind of by and large are exercises in just guys having jobs. You need scouts to stay busy, and they can't just watch game film, I guess. So they have to have up close and personal reactions to 40 times and interview questions, etc. So Lance Zierlein is an NFL draft analyst and said that he did not hear that Anthony Richardson, quote, killed it in interviews. Zierlein went on to say, quote, heard all of the QBs were just okay in interviews. Doing a podcast now with Dane Brugler, and he said teams were surprised at how far behind he was from a football standpoint, talking about Anthony Richardson. Okay, so there's a couple of things here. Number one, if everybody's underwhelming in the interview process, maybe it's the interview, right? I mean, every quarterback is going to be underwhelming in the said process. Maybe it's the process. I find it hard to believe that Will Levis and Bryce Young and CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson and Hendon Hooker, whoever, every single one of them walks out of there and you're like, ooh, ew, nah, not interested, not impressed. Maybe you're looking for the wrong things. These are 6 different guys or more from 6 different backgrounds and 6 different schools and 6 different experiences, 6 different brains, and every single one of them is unimpressive. That doesn't do much for me. But number 2, the fact that, quote, Anthony Richardson, teams were surprised at how far behind he was from a football standpoint. Well, what's surprising about this? Again, I tend to think that sometimes when you have all of this importance placed upon draft picks, stock options, basically, that you're buying stocks and your jobs depend on it and your franchise depends on it, and there's so much scrutiny and there's a year of lead up, etc., that you get distracted by minutia, that you lose sight of what's truly important. And that's how Patrick Mahomes drops to number 10. And if you're looking at Anthony Richardson, how can you watch Florida Gators football last year and be like, oh, yeah, he's very polished football-wise, or he's ahead of the curve football-wise, or he's definitely on point for where he should be football-wise? The problem with Anthony Richardson, every single game last year, if you watched any Gators football, was that Anthony Richardson would make one great play and 3 boneheaded ones. Well, yeah, what, you're surprised that he's not as polished in the interview process or in football decision making or schematic analysis. That would be surprising. It's of course all part of it. Now, the point is that Anthony Richardson may be able to get coached up to speed, that he's got this freakish ability that you can't coach. No matter how long you have Will Levis, he ain't ever going to run a 4.40. So you have to look at Anthony Richardson as, here are the things we can't teach him, but we can teach him football, but it's going to take some time. And is he the type of guy that can learn the football? And let's face it, that's a big issue here, is that you got guys that come out of college that don't have the personality type, the brain, whatever, to get you to the football processing part. I mean, that's the story of how many busts. Like, let's face it, Mitch Trubisky just does not seem like the type of guy that's ever going to ever be a football savant. That's just not going to be a high-level operating quarterback brain. You know? So Jay Cutler just didn't care about putting in the work. He just, not whatever the scheme, I'm just going to throw it. You know, you can't get him to a place where he's going to be a high-functioning quarterback brain. To me, I think you can get Bryce Young there if he's not there already. I think Bryce Young is already a high-functioning football brain. Now, if he answers a question whether, you know, you'd rather be a dog or a cat, do you embody breakfast or lunch more? I don't, that to me is stupid. I'm not going to make a decision based on that. But is Anthony Richardson, do you walk away from an interview going, wow, I thought he was farther ahead in football? Why? Watch the tape. Watch the film. Look at the evidence. Look, there's going to be a good quarterback in this draft. They're not all going to be bums. I think it's going to be Bryce Young. But, you know, there's this incredible overanalysis by these scouts and GMs. Just look at the film. The only question in the quarterback draft is Bryce Young going to get hurt because he's too small? That's it. That's the only question. It's not if he's the best quarterback prospect. He is. It's, do you believe yes or no? You're going to give him 5 years. 5-year contract right here. Do you think he's going to stay healthy in those 5 years? If your answer is yeah, then you have to take him number one. You have to. You cannot take Anthony Richardson number one if you believe that Bryce Young can stay healthy. If you believe there's no way his body holds up to the pounding, he's too slight, we can't put enough weight on his frame, he's built like a nickelback and not a quarterback and I don't trust it, okay, then there's a conversation to be had. 855-212-4CBS or on Twitter, DA on CBS. Okay, Kyle's in Arizona. He might be a P1 hardcore listener to a Tucson morning show, Landfill and Big Baby. He joins us this morning on the show for a Thirsty Thursday. Kyle, good morning.
Oh, boy. How's it going, DA?
It's going well. Is this Kyle or Gumby?
This is Mickey.
Oh, Mickey. Oh, hi. Good morning, Mickey.
Oh, boy. Can I get a beam up, please?
Yes, sir. Hi, Mickey. How's your morning going?
Oh, you know, it's going good, man. Got Donald over here making my breakfast for me. Oh.
That's good. Thanks, man. So, what you calling about?
Well, I just want to take this opportunity to raise a glass to all my friends on the DA show.
Oh, nice.
Everyone's just so great.
Well,
I just love everybody so much.
That's really nice of you. We feel like you're really great as well. Hey, is Robin the 321 badgering you when he comes out to Disneyland?
Who? Never heard of him.
Okay.
Mraz will say, who's that? Who?
What's Minnie wearing as she cooks you breakfast?
She's not wearing much, man, gotta be honest.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, polka dot, can't even see the whole circle on the red one, you know what I mean?
Wow. Well, sounds like a good morning in the Mouse household.
Oh, yeah, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. We got it going on, and we got our blinds closed for this reason.
Got the blinds closed as Minnie dresses provocatively and cooks you breakfast.
Oh, yeah, that's the life right there. That's what I retired for.
What did you do for her for Valentine's Day?
Here for the tail.
Gave her the tail.
Give her the tail. All 6 feet of it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
As somebody who watches Mickey Mouse Clubhouse every night, can I just chime in and let everybody know that Mickey and Minnie are brother and sister?
Is that right?
I was unaware until I started watching this with Taylor. They're brother and sister. There's no relationship there.
Is that so? That's a modern revelation. They changed that to make it more family friendly. They definitely used to be husband and wife.
Minnie's best friend is Daisy. Mickey's best friend, I'll tell you, they all love Goofy, is Donald. They're all brother-sister situations there. They all grew up around each other.
Let's face it. 20 years ago, they're husband and wife.
I think that was implied, but we never knew. Now we know they're brother and sister. So I don't know what's going on in Arizona. It feels like maybe a little Game of Thrones-ish.
That's your market now.
You got to figure it out. It's your market.
Big baby in the landfill. And that was 100% a troll job of Robin the 321 trying to show how easy impersonations are on the show.
Oh, that wasn't Kyle in Arizona?
No, it was. And Kyle in Arizona can't stand Rob.
Oh.
Rob calls his cartoon characters. Kyle in Arizona showing Rob, this was the hat tip, how easy it can be.
I see. Wow. Well, there's some layers now to this. Yeah, that's a good feud that's going on right now. The Kyle in Arizona versus Rob of the 321.
Better than Ali Frazier.
I'm enjoying that one.
By the way, everybody on Twitch now telling me I'm wrong. Watch the show. If that was the case and Walt Disney declared them husband and wife a long time ago, I'm telling you, the modern day, they are brother and sister on the shows.
Yeah, it just must be a modern iteration where they didn't want to go down the road of husband and wife and gender roles or something like this.
I'm sad at how much I watch and know this. I promise you that.
They don't want to add in sexuality or something like this to Mickey and Minnie, but once upon a time, definitely they were husband and wife. I mean, when you go to Disney World, isn't that implied that they're husband and wife? Isn't there like a baby mouse that they had?
Oh,
No.
What, do you think they're having sexual encounters in the world's happiest place on earth?
Well, yeah. Disney characters can have kids.
No. The last thing you want to leave Disney World after spending $17 on a Mickey-shaped ice cream and standing online after the Fast Passes is saying, hey, Mommy and Daddy, how did Mickey and Minnie have that baby? You don't want those questions.
Well, no, wait a second. Pluto has a baby Pluto.
Dude, in what universe?
Yeah, where are you talking about?
There's a baby dog that Pluto has. There's a little Pluto.
Where? What episode? Yeah. I got 5 different versions I got to watch every night. There's racers, there's
Disney
boat
World.
tunes.
I went to Disney World as a kid. There was Pluto, and then Pluto had a mini Pluto right next to him.
Is it right next to his Six Flags?
Like a puppy.
You sure it just wasn't like a different, smaller version you could buy?
Bogues, be the arbiter.
So I was startled to hear Sean say that. Now, my kids are 11 and 9, so we have not watched Mickey Mouse Clubhouse in a while.
Okay.
But I would have bet a lot of money that I remember watching episodes with my kids of Donald flirting with Daisy and Mickey flirting with Minnie.
Okay.
So if you Google right now, does Mickey love Minnie? Are they married?
That's right.
Yes. There's Walt Disney quotes, and he created the characters.
Okay.
I don't know why I went this in depth, but he says they're married off screen, but on screen, they don't lay it on thick.
Oh.
But they are not brother and sister.
I like that relationship where there's not a lot of PDA. Nobody wants to see them making out.
Totally.
We like that.
How about that?
I'm just telling you what. I can only speak to the last 2 years of these new episodes of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I don't know what changed over the years. There is only one relationship that they make clear as a relationship, and that is Goofy with Clarabelle.
Right.
Who owns the bakery, and Goofy's basically a bum who just rides her money.
Right.
Leave Goofy alone.
I mean, the history of Mickey and Minnie is that they are a love interest.
And that's fine. That might be the history. I'm telling everybody who's just simply Googling this, you don't currently have the young kids that are watching the current iterations. That's all I can go on because I didn't even know Mickey was still a thing.
But what do you? I don't understand. Like what you like what did you want them to do? This is not HBO. Like they're not going to make out.
No,
they're not going to sleep in the same
them
bed.
to them on current
Identify
episodes.
them as brother and sister.
Yes, they are identified as brother and sister in several episodes.
Yeah, so
Really?
You think I want to sit there and watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? That's the only reason I know this.
Here we go deep. Now there are definitely episodes where they're like fantastical episodes where they're like in Wizard of Oz and stuff. So like maybe in specific episodes because they're like transplanting into a different world. They
I
have
could
different
see they
relationships.
probably changed it because they wanted to remove sexuality out of the relationship.
Exactly.
So, but up until 3 years ago,
Yeah.
they were.
I'm sure that this is
And
a
that could be the case.
post-pandemic interpretation of Disney.
This is startling.
I'm not trying to say I know the whole history. I can only speak to what I have to sit down and watch the couch every night. And I'm paying attention.
So is Donald and Daisy not dating in this new one? In the reboot?
So now I have to revisit Donald and Daisy because they make it seem like there's the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Donald and Daisy grew up down the block, and like that's Mickey's friend, that's Minnie's friend, and now they're all
because
friends.
when we think about this throughout history, when Minnie kisses Mickey, all the hearts pop up around.
Right. I mean, if you just Google it now, there's pictures and stuff of them hugging and kissing and, like you said, hearts flowing above their head.
And that's the whole Valentine thing. Is like Mickey gives Minnie Valentines. That's why when you're 6 years old in kindergarten, you give Mickey and Minnie Valentines.
Right.
And Donald and Daisy, definitely Donald chases Daisy all over the place. I mean, that guy's a total horn dog.
Yeah.
His voice is brutal, though. I mean, I guess you got the other ducks and then Quack McDuck, the guy with the grandpa, and then they go to grandpa's house. Maybe they are. But I'm telling you, Mickey and Minnie, they make it clear now that they're brother and sister.
That's a good one. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. That's baby animals. Those are baby ducks over at...
But are they Donald's kids?
Yeah.
Or are they Scrooge McDuck's grandkids?
Well, whatever they are...
Well, they're Uncle Scrooge.
You'd have to go to Disney World and have to explain how they got to Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
So Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge are brothers.
No.
I can't believe I'm going to utter these words.
No, that would make sense then. If Donald's kids are Huey, Dewey, and Louie, then Donald and Uncle Scrooge are brothers.
but Scrooge McDuck is so much older than Donald.
Right, and has more money.
Or maybe Scrooge is Donald's uncle, so he's technically their great uncle, but they just call him Uncle Scrooge.
He's a great uncle. He's definitely a great uncle.
For the first time in my life,
How
at
does
35
Darkwing
years
Duck
old,
feel it?
I'm going to utter this sentence. I need to call Taylor and find out if I'm right.
Okay, when does she wake up?
Right around now. I will. In the next 10 minutes, I will get an answer.
Would you be able to, is she old enough to be on the phone with us?
So, yes, she doesn't stop talking. The question is, does she get a little shy guys, if you will, in real time?
Get her on the phone. You ask the question so she's not intimidated and say, Daddy has some questions.
Okay.
And let's see if Taylor can give us the
Let
explanation.
me just call my wife, make sure she's awake first.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure Danielle will love this.
Big next segment coming up here on the DA Show, plus the Thirsty Thursday. This is the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
The impression, if you followed the Catholic religion, which I somewhat do.
Okay.
That the first two humans were Mary and Joseph,
Oh
and they had
my
the immaculate,
God.
I guess, conception of Jesus Christ.
Oh my God! That's an all-timer.
Well, why would it be immaculate then if they're creating something we've never seen before?
Come on, everybody.
Mary was a virgin.
So they were living with other people. They were. I thought Mary and Joseph were kind of like Adam and Eve.
Bogus walked out.
Well, who do you think Adam and Eve were?
Mary and Joseph. Although they were like the same people, but it's like if you don't believe in the Catholic or Christian religion, you believed in Adam and Eve. Which I see now I am terribly wrong, apparently. This is the way I've lived my life, which is why Christmas is a big deal.
Because Jesus was born to the first humans on earth.
Yes. So here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus. But I guess that's point because then where did the three wise men come from?
That's
with
a
the
fair
gifts.
question.
I never thought about that. And
That's
who built the manger?
That's a fair question as well.
Everything's coming to me now in real time, and it's unfair that I have a microphone on. Some of the things have gaps.
This is preposterous. This is the dumbest thing you've ever said. I cannot believe the 3 or 4 cents that just came out of your mouth that you thought Mary and Joseph were the first people alternately called Adam and Eve for non-believers. I got nothing else. I got nothing else. I got nothing else.
If it makes you feel better, Bogus,
See you tomorrow.
I'm not
Done for
making
the day.
excuses. You're right. I'm wrong. And nobody is more embarrassed right now than me.
Mary and Joseph, also known as Adam and Eve for the non-believers in the audience.
Dual roles.
How did we get the 3 wise men? They came over on the ark.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're toasting to the good life.
I feel alive.
We are feeling good and doing well.
How many beers ago? Probably 1,000.
It's the DA Show's Thirsty Thursday.
Celebrating with some booskies.
Booskies time. Watch the show. WatchDA.com. It's mobile friendly. Also on Twitch, also on YouTube. Pop up the YouTube app on your phone and watch us on the CBS Sports Radio channel. Mraz, who you toasting to?
DA, we've done a lot of nostalgia lately. Talk about today and lately. I'm toasting Elio's Pizza. Anybody have one of these bad boys lately?
No.
I hadn't probably had a slice of Elio's. It's a frozen pizza in like 10 years, something like that. I was pushing the cart through the supermarket last week. Kids love pizza. All right, I'll throw a box. Let's see. So it was, I guess, Saturday or Sunday. I saw the box, said, all right, this is easy. Let me make a little sheet here. Taylor has a slice, Peyton has a slice.
9 a.m.
And I sat there, there's a little extra pizza. I said, I haven't had it forever. Let me pop this in my mouth. Let me tell you something. When done well, if you make it crispy on the bottom, like leave it in a little overcooked, let's say, that Elio's Pizza ranks up there pretty damn high. You know, you could stuff all the crust you want in a DiGiorno, and this one and that one. Here's all these different flavors. No. The straight rectangle, slightly curved because it might be freezer burned Elio's Pizza. You get it a little overdone. I'm toasting to that, man. That is a slice of nostalgia we don't talk about enough. It is, it's perfecto.
Okay, toast to it. Yeah, I haven't had Elio's in a long time, but I trust you on this one.
Yeah, go back. Even the cheese and sauce, it's like Emerald made it.
It's like Emerald made it, huh?
It's good.
Wow, okay. Elio's of Bleecker Street. Basically, it's going to be Big Baby in the Landfill, sponsored by Elio's. Mornings in Tucson.
And I still don't know if it's Elios or Elios, but whatever.
All right. Pete the Body, who you toasting to?
I am toasting to Lent for this reason.
Wow.
It brings
Is
out.
that so?
Yes, that's right. It brings out the best in the terms of fish, in terms of fast food fish.
True.
So it's brought out one name of a menu item at Popeyes that I absolutely love. The name is probably the best name for an item on a fast food menu. The shrimp tackle box. If there's something that brings out fish and shrimp and you're not eating meat, it's the shrimp tackle box. So I'm toasting to that. What a beautiful name.
Okay. I'm going to tell you this. For Lent, even though I don't observe, they were serving fish sandwiches at Arby's a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I did a Nomad episode. The fish sandwich was legit at Arby's. The fish sandwich was really, really legit. I'm like, this is a good fish sandwich.
I think that's when we all get the vibe Nomad might be coming to an end.
I was running out of ideas.
If this is it, it's it.
But you're right. This is the time of year where fast food fish game steps up. I'm still not a Filet-O-Fish guy. A lot of people love Filet-O-Fish. I'm not into it, but
yeah, I'm not either.
The Arby's fish sandwich is totally legit. I've not had the tackle box, but Popeyes is awesome.
Yeah, I'm not a big fish fan, but just the name was like, I want to get this item.
And it was good.
Yeah.
And Popeyes probably does the shrimp right. It's got that good coating on it. It's more breading than shrimp.
Spicy, toasty, golden brown. Yeah, Popeyes is awesome. That's my biggest. I have to constantly say, no, I'm not going to eat it because I could really eat Popeyes multiple times a week. I love their sides. I love fried chicken, but I just know at 44 years old, I can't just be slobbing down fried chicken all the time.
It's so good, though. You get that box.
Oh, God, is it good.
Is there a chance the Popeyes biscuit is both, at times, the greatest thing you could eat in the world, and then this isn't as good as I think thing in the world?
It's always the first. It's always the fourth.
Sometimes you get a dry one, though, like a very dry one.
It's delicious. Wow, now I need Popeyes.
Now we know what we're having for
lunch has been summed up here.
AB, who you toasting to?
I got to toast my Fordham Rams. Best season in recent memory for basketball. 24 wins, 12 wins in the Atlantic 10, most they've ever had.
Yeah.
Tied for second in the conference. Best finish ever.
Yeah.
The A-10 tournament's been going on since Tuesday. They still haven't played yet because they got a double bye.
Wow.
People are picking them to win the whole thing. Never thought it would happen. Had students outside the gym back-to-back mornings this week to buy tickets for the game tonight at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Never, ever thought that basketball could be like this again at Fordham. And maybe it's only a one-year thing, but this year's been tremendous. And they may very well win the next 3 days in Brooklyn and dance, which would be completely inconceivable. But so far, so good, so toast to them all.
Toast them.
Booskies.
Not to be a downer, but is the new coach going to leave already after 1 year?
I don't think so. I've been checking all of the hot seat articles and who might get a job, and no one's mentioning him. He's never been a head coach before, so this is completely brand new to him and to, I think, the college basketball world. He seems to really love being the Fordham coach. His dad's a Fordham grad. So I don't think a departure is imminent, thankfully.
That's good. I am toasting to the food trucks that do it right. I'm a big food truck fan.
What a fat slob you're becoming.
I mean, really. I'm a disgrace. But, I know how hard it is to open up a restaurant. I know that the odds are that so few restaurants actually make it. And a lot of people that have great culinary skills just don't have the capital to open up a restaurant. So food trucks have become a huge part of the culinary culture. We were down to the Keys a couple weekends ago, my wife and I, and we were kind of looking for a place to eat that was close to where we were staying, and I found this online review of a food truck. And of course, it's a little bit of a tough sell. Okay, we're going to go to a food truck to eat lunch. We've never been there before. It's kind of a dodgy part of the Keys, but I was kind of convinced that just reading the reviews and seeing some of the pictures, I'm like, I think this is good. We went there, and it was a husband and wife that owned it. And my God, it was some of the best. It was the best meal that we actually had while we were down there. It's called Havana Island Cafe. They just did this kind of Caribbean take, Cuban take on a lot of like delicious seafoods, and just everything that they had was just drop dead awesome. And the place was clean. It was, you could tell they were, it was really professional. And this was just a couple that I'm sure the overhead of opening up a restaurant is crazy, but they were going to do the food truck as well as a food truck could be done. And I'm just like, this is so important in America, where you have these inspired people that are great at cooking. They want to do their own thing. They want to share their gift, but they don't want to open up a restaurant in this crazy economy, et cetera. So the people that do the food trucks well, I've got so much respect for. Keep doing your thing. Keep driving towards the goal. Keep having the dream in your heart, because you're making a lot of people happy. And, okay, it's not the traditional thing that we all grew up, well, you got to have a restaurant if you want to cook. No. Now the food truck business and the people that grind and do it well, I've got just tons of respect for and appreciation for, because a good food truck, that's my happy place. You know me. I've now become a fat ass. Toast 'em.
That's a drop.
From the handle One Too Many Oopsies, toasting to Pete and Bogues from yesterday's ridiculousness. If you're 6 beers deep and it's your first trip to the bathroom and all urinals are taken, but there's a stall open, you're telling me not to use the stall? Hashtag doesn't make a noise.
Booskies.
No, that's not where I'm coming from. My point is, don't take up a stall if there's a line of the stalls, because that should be kept open for the people that need the stalls. But if there's open stalls and lines of the urinals, then have at it. It's just about, it's about courtesy of just keeping everything moving and making sure that the stalls are used for when they really have to be used.
Right. It's amazing how many people keep missing that point.
But so here's the official update, by the way, from the Clippers, since I did reach out to them yesterday, and they responded strangely quickly and professionally, so toast to them as well.
Okay.
Booskies.
There is no advanced analytics, so to speak, on the toilet to bathroom breakdown. The fact is they have over 1,100 toilets and urinals. Don't know one versus the other. That's 3 times the general average of an NBA arena.
So 400 or so urinals/bathrooms in most arenas.
I guess, right. So the point is, I believe you guys, whatever your point was yesterday, you made the wrong assumption at the beginning. Steve Ballmer was not yelling toilets.
Is that like us?
Because he was not fixing a problem that you perceive of people misusing the stalls for number one. There's just more bathrooms in their arena. He might not even have addressed your problem. There still may be the same ratio of urinals to toilets. I'm sure that's also been some kind of studied fact. So, right, wrong, whose side you're on, shockingly, you guys got carried away by something that may not have actually happened.
Well, look, wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
Toilets! But also doesn't necessarily mean we're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you want to cling to that as well?
We just don't know.
Or that this was akin to parking in a handicap spot or running a red light. That's your fight to fight. But I think Pete and I can sit proudly today on the stance we took.
That's right.
And actually listening to the man yelling toilets.
You can't talk about the line moving, because when you stop to let people go, the line isn't moving.
Okay. All right, well, I don't want to open up World War III again. No. That one day was enough.
I'm good. I'm okay.
I'm
Can't
sure.
believe the Clippers talked to us about this.
I got a candidate for the 12 DAs, okay?
I'm sure we'll hear this again coming up in December, if not sooner. But we have a very important guest here on the line. We're trying to figure out whether Mickey and Minnie are brother and sister or if they're love interests. Now, Mraz has his beautiful young eldest daughter, Taylor, on the phone. And Mraz, you can take it away.
Taylor, baby, it's Daddy. Can you hear me?
Can you hear Daddy? She said, yeah.
All right. Well, Taylor, you got to speak up now, okay? We're on the air.
She doesn't talk loud. That's her voice.
All right, Taylor. When Daddy and you watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Racers, Minnie Bo Tunes, are Mickey and Minnie brother and sister or boyfriend and girlfriend?
Which one? Which one? She said Minnie.
No. Taylor, hold on, Taylor. Taylor, you don't stop talking morning and night. I will give you a lollipop when I get home from work if you answer this question.
Can I ask her? Hold on.
Yeah, you ask her.
Are Mickey and Minnie brother and sister, or are they married? You don't know? She's not going to answer.
This is a big dud. All right, I'm gonna record her later to prove I'm right. They're brother and sister.
They're brother and sister.
Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you. They are. This is what we watch every night.
So we got verification. Taylor said brother and sister.
All she said is Minnie. So it's not good, but Danielle's watched the same episodes as me, and they've been led to believe it's brother and sister. Now, well, Taylor, thanks for the dud. I appreciate it, sweetheart.
Bye.
So now Tom DiCelestino, who sits outside right now before the writer's show, has a son, I think, that's in between your two kids, Sean. They watched the entire Mickey catalog. And DiCel said there's two main shows now. There's Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Mickey Mouse Funhouse.
Oh.
And in one of them,
That's
right.
In one of them, they are definitely a couple.
Funhouse is for older kids.
In the other one, there's no delineation, but DiCel says I wouldn't assume they're brother and sister, but it's just that they're friends, not boyfriend, girlfriend.
I see. It's platonic.
Yes.
Mickey was put in the friend zone.
I guess.
Dixieland Dan says Mickey definitely has a relationship with all of the girls on Clubhouse.
Well, hold on.
Mickey, he says, is basically the Pat Boyle of the Disney universe. That Clubhouse is basically the Disney version of the Jersey Shore.
He's not wrong. Also, remember this, guys. They share a last name. It's not Peter Schwartz marrying his wife, who also had the same last name. Their last name is Mouse because they grew up in the same household.
No, because they're married.
Yeah, or Minnie took Mickey's last name. Or they're just both mice.
Tom Boyle.
And every mouse has the last name Mouse.
I mean, perhaps.
It's kind of like Johnson or Smith. Every mouse
But
is called
the Ducks, too. Their last name is Duck.
Because they're together.
No, but like Michael Schumacher was a racer. Somewhere along the line, his great-grandfather was a shoemaker. Like, that's how you get last names.
Okay.
So they're brother and sister.
I don't think that rationale holds
No,
up.
not exactly. And again, there may have been a change recently, but for 98% of their existence, they've been a couple.
Right.
So, we may all be right here, but the theme of Mickey and Minnie, from their invention, from the man who made them, they're a couple.
Okay. I like how we're trusting the guy that had the Adam and Eve discussion yesterday.
There's
about
also
this.
that.
Doug tweets, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are Donald Duck's nephews.
Okay.
Daisy is his love interest, and Scrooge McDuck is Donald's uncle.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I was close. Right church, wrong pew.
Why is the father not in the picture?
Deadbeat.
Can't talk about that. That's for the older edition.
Donald never knew his dad.
Yeah. Disney After Dark.
So sad.
Disney 30 for 30.
Donald grew up his whole life wanted to prove to his dad that he was worth being a duck.
Can you tell football season's over the last 2 days on the DA show?
Let's be honest. This could have absolutely happened on a Wednesday in November.
That's true, too. Yeah, that's true, too. Bogue says headlines.
And on a serious note, Glendale, Colorado police will not charge John Moran for brandishing an apparent gun in a club early Saturday morning. The announcement yesterday said no one filed any complaint that night. No one was threatened by a gun in the club, and no gun was ever located. Moranto will miss at least 4 more Grizzlies games. They've lost the first 2 without him. And then we have former NBA star Shawn Kemp charged yesterday in connection with a drive-by shooting in Tacoma, Washington. Police say an argument between people in 2 cars outside a mall led to shots being fired. 1 car fled the scene. A gun was recovered. On the court, Kevin Durant injured his left ankle in pregame warm-up, so he did not make his Suns' home debut last night. He'll get an MRI as soon as today. The Suns took care of the Thunder without him, 132-101. Devin Booker scored 44. Luka Doncic, not healthy either this morning.
I don't think so, because normally I got hit in the thigh, but this one I didn't get hit, so it's kind of weird for me. So I really don't know what it is.
Doncic left in the third quarter in New Orleans with a left thigh injury. He has an MRI in his future as well. The Mavs lost the game to the Pelicans, 113-106. The Clippers down the Raptors, 108-100. The Bulls, a 117-96 win in Denver, where the Nuggets had been 30-4. And the Celtics got 30 from Jason Tatum to snap a 3-game skid, 115-93 over Portland. College hoops, Montana State, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and Colgate.
The Islanders.
The Islanders all won their conference tourneys last night. We have Jim Boeheim retiring after 47 years at Syracuse, or maybe getting pushed out.
Yes.
Mark Adams stepping down as Texas Tech head coach. It was just last week when he was suspended for making racially insensitive comments to his players. Shohei Ohtani, 4 innings of one-hit ball. He struck out 5 to begin his World Baseball Classic. Japan leads China 3-1 through 6 right now. This is Group B in Tokyo. Italy and Cuba are scoreless in the 5th. Australia's already beaten South Korea 8-7, and the Netherlands beat Panama 3-1, improving to 2-0 in Group A. In hockey last night, Vancouver 3, Anaheim 2. In overtime, JT Miller, the game-winning goal there. DA, back to you.
Thank you, Bogues. When we come back, I want Bogues, I want Bilotti, specifically to answer this question. Do you think Mookie would have beaten Buckner to the bag? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Everything is so salty there. And the guy mopping up was a really nice touch. The smell of chlorine and floor cleaner stung the nostrils perfectly. Would have really paired nicely with a urinal cake Merlot. It was edible, but not really enjoyable. In fact, I was a little queasy afterwards. I definitely didn't need 2 of them. Fries would have been a far better choice. Let's hope Arby's is a better option.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises.
So on to Arby's, where they have the meats and the seafood, I guess. It's a limited time at Arby's, so get your mass-produced fish in a bun while you can. The website proudly states it's Alaskan pollock and wild caught. I'm sure those fishermen love knowing their weeks out of the open seas are feeding people through drive-through windows. The cost, more understandable, 2 for $5 as well, but 1 for $3.40. And after the McDonald's adventure, I only need 1. I learned my lesson. The first takeaway is pretty obvious. This is much better fish. It tasted like, fish. How novel. The mayo tartar had a little tang, but not necessarily heavy like McDonald's. No cheese was good, very good. I appreciated the simplicity. A little heavy on the tartar at times, but the bun was a big plus. Sesame seed and soft, not a cracking fiberglass mess. The oversized filet from the commercials I was so interested in, it was much bigger than McDonald's. And you know what? I'm okay with this. Honestly, it put the McFrankenfish to shame. This was a pretty decent sando. I could get down with this. It tasted like, fried fish on bread with lettuce. Not something I would mistake for a clam shack off the coast of Maine, but it was enjoyable. And that's a major win. That Arby's cowboy hat, that's got some deep sea knowledge under it.
Next time I think about getting adventurous with fast food fish sandwiches, I think I'm just going to stick to Field Trip Snacks. Remember, you can save 25% off your order. Field Trip Snacks loves Nomad, and they love you guys. 25% off your order. Just use the code NOMAD, fieldtripsnacks.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please tell your friends, please subscribe to this channel, and please check out other episodes. You'd probably like an episode where I eat tons of foods that are laced with Cheetos. Or perhaps when I go inside the secret of the In-N-Out burger. Or maybe even when I spend hours in a line at the Chick-fil-A in New York City. Kids, I do not recommend that you try this at home. Hop, skipping, and jumping around to a bunch of fast food places trying processed fish, I wouldn't advise it. Until next time, remember, do your homework before you dig into any massive fish sandwich.
1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is CBS. It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
Listen to us on your phone. Use the free Odyssey app. Use the free CBS Sports app and stream us every single morning. I dropped a brand new podcast this week. Episodes come out on Tuesdays, and my first guest was Mookie Wilson. It's a deep dive into former New York athletes, a long-form interview style that I haven't really had a chance to do here on the show because we're kind of curtailed by the size of segments, the length of segments. And so I'm getting a chance to really go deep, 45-minute, hour-long interviews with some of these guys that I'm really interested in. And so Mookie is one of my favorite players, obviously, from that 86 New York Mets team that won the World Series. Forever connected to Bill Buckner because in the 10th inning of Game 6 of the World Series, he hits that little grounder to right, basically to first base. Bill Buckner is there. Buckner goes down, goes through the wickets, and Mookie is safe. And Ray Knight comes around to score the winning run. Mets win Game 6, go on to win Game 7. It's a magical play, obviously, and Buckner ends up wearing the goat horns for almost the rest of his life. Ultimately passed away in 2019, but Buckner is synonymous with a GOAT and not the good kind in sports. But Mookie had a different take on that play that suggests that maybe Buckner should not have been the GOAT of all time.
Bill and I have had this conversation many times. Many times. We have talked about it, and we actually sat there and watched the game together and dissected the whole inning, Bill and I. And we both agreed that even if he catch the ball, he said, I don't think I'll beat you in the bag even if I catch the ball because of the momentum and when he was so far off the line, he's going away and back. So he don't know, but at the moment, I couldn't. The pitcher's out of play. The pitcher got no chance. The pitcher, which is another conversation you can have a lot about, but the pitcher's out of play. Maybe he thought that down the line was an easy play for the first baseman. Well, the first baseman was out of position. But even if he catch the ball, I stand by my belief and not without talking with the other guy who was involved that I would have beaten to the bag.
Now, it's true, Bob Stanley, the pitcher's nowhere in the picture. If Buckner does feel this cleanly and gets to the bag and Mookie just beats him to the bag, then Buckner's not really a GOAT forever and a tortured soul. What do you guys think? Bogues, you're a big Mets fan.
Thought this forever, that even if Mookie said otherwise, I would still believe that he was going to win that race at the base. And then the game's tied, we move on, who knows what happens. But he's winning, he's getting to first base before Buckner.
So if Mookie beats Buckner to the bag, then the game is over.
Well, no, I mean, there's no guarantee that Knight scores. He's at second base. So he only scores because the ball gets through. So it might be first and third, 2 outs, and the game continues tied, or the next guy gets a hit, whatever it is. In defense of Buckner, even if he fields it, I've never thought he gets to the base in time to end the inning in that moment.
Mookie brings up his bad knees at that point in his career. Bilotti, what do you think?
Mookie beats it because of the knees. Buckner was not in great physical shape in terms of his body and whatnot, and he was not the defensive replacement they were using all season.
Right, they left him in so he could celebrate, right? Isn't that the story?
They would take him out, 6th, 7th inning, but this time they wanted to keep him in to celebrate.
That's exactly right. John McNamara kept him in because Buckner was such a good soldier. He wanted him on the field when they finally won the World Series instead of saying, like, let's be safe here. But he should not have been at first base.
But I tell you, Buckner gets killed for this a lot more than he should. It should be there should be more on Bob Stanley and on the relievers of the Red Sox. They were the ones that blew it.
They melted down.
Yep.
I think people forget that the game was tied when this happens.
Right.
They think that Boston wins if he fields it and steps on first base.
Right.
So the game already being tied takes a lot of heat off of him, in my mind.
I agree.
That's exactly right. Mraz, where do you come down?
I think that the reason Buckner can't field the ball is the same reason he wouldn't have beat Mookie to the bag. He was, for everything you hit on, he's old, he's bending, he's hurt, he's lumbering. Mookie's flying. People forget what speed in baseball was like. Mookie represented that.
Right.
I think he beats him. I never really thought about it until hearing this clip, but looking at it, he beats him.
How interesting is it also that he says that they've watched that inning together?
That's fascinating.
That game.
Like, think about your worst moment in life and anybody who was involved who benefited in that, and then sitting back and having that somehow in video and watching that with them. Could you do that?
It was probably multiple times, too, because I believe they watched one for Major League Baseball Network, MLB Network.
Really?
And they probably watched it more than once.
Yeah, one of the things that was really interesting talking to Mookie is that they really had a bond. And that must have been that Buckner needed that from Mookie. He needed some type of kindred spirit or some type of sounding board. So to process this, I mean, to just tell you how tortured this must have been for Buckner, like he would watch the inning or the game with Mookie to process it. You can check out the podcast. It's called New York Accent. Subscribe if you can, and you'll get new episodes coming up every Tuesday. New York Accent. All the places the podcasts are available.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Don't go to the ballpark then.
Right.
You don't have to go to this game.
Oh, stop.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. If you cannot go to urinal, you should not be allowed in the stadium.
Then you're terrified of people. Then just stay home.
No, you're being ridiculous.
Why can't you go to the urinal?
Come on. What if
Pete, why do you need a stall to go number one?
What if you don't think about this stuff? What if you can go to a stall and go to a urinal as well? Maybe, hey, one day I don't want to use the urinal. The other day I just want to go in the stall.
I don't want to.
What about if you just want to use a stall one day?
What does that mean? I just want to use a stall.
It's just I'm going to the bathroom. Oh, hey, I want to use a stall this time and not the urinal.
So you want to eat a lollipop for dinner as well? I mean, you don't just get to do whatever you want.
Right. Whoa, what if I want to run this red light?
It's just like telling people I don't want you in my elevator. You can't do that.
You guys sometimes are terrible at comparisons. This is like running a red light, Sean. Going in the
well, but you're holding people
in the stall.
Up. Is that fair to the guy?
Guys, we've been to a million games, a million concerts. There's always lines for urinals to the point where people go into the stall to pee to beat the line.
That's a different
We're not
situation.
talking about that.
We're talking about the opposite.
But you can,
to throw that out, that's a straw man argument. Nobody's saying there's not enough urinals, so use the toilet. This is taking up a toilet because you're scared of the urine.
But my point is, there's never a run on toilets that you can't go pee in there real quick and get out of the way.
That's the whole point. That's bogus. You got to remove yourself from the conversation.
Okay.
That's the whole argument.
The whole argument is in
that's
these
why
new
Steve Ballmer's
stadiums.
putting in toilets because there's too many. There's not enough toilets.
There's usually you get in and there's like 6 toilets and 70 urinals, and you always walk in and you realize the line is backed up because there's 4 open urinals and 6 people are deep on the. This happens all the time locally, these venues. I don't know what's going on at Dave Matthews concerts, and maybe you've seen that. I'm just telling you what I've seen, and it's got to stop. If you have a stomach bug, if you have a stomach bug and you're screwed because Pete the Body Bilatti's afraid to go in the urinal, is that fair?
Did I just say, you know what I just said? I did not say I was scared to go on the urinal.
But you just said you just wanted to. You didn't give us a reason.
Well, yeah, maybe one day I want to just use the toilet.
You can't just say that. Are you scared of
why
using
can't
the
I
urinal?
just say that?
Because what does that mean? Because I don't just come in here and go, guys, you know what? I'm just going to talk about horses all day. I have to talk about sports, Pete. You got to do sometimes what you don't want to do.
I'm on the line to go to the urinal or use the toilet. I can use either one to do whatever I have to.
Well, yes, you can do whatever you want any time in life. That's not the point here. The point is you're taking up resources from somebody that needs them, and you don't need it.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
CBS Sports Radio. Live from CBS Radio Studios in New York City, it's the DA Show with your host, Damon Amendolara, featuring producer Mraz and the musical sounds of the Zap Zap Orchestra. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's DA.
All right, a happy Thursday to you, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on a Thirsty Thursday. You can send us your toasts. We'll read through those over the course of this hour at DA on CBS or on the phones at 855-212-4CBS. Also, coming up in 20 minutes, we propose our NIT bracket punishments because Sunday night is the Selection Sunday show. By Monday morning, we'll have the NIT bracket. And so we'll have to decide on what is on the line with the bracket. Plus, we are stunned to a news in 20. And in 40, we get to a story we didn't get to yesterday. Will Tom Brady make a good cat dad? Very important stuff this morning here on the show. Yesterday, Syracuse's season ends in the ACC tournament. Buzzer beater win by Wake Forest. And it's another non-tournament year for the Orange. And after the game, Jim Boeheim was kind of snippy, very snippy, and couldn't really answer the question about whether that was his last game. But in classic Boeheim fashion, was combative with a reporter who asked him about it and said, I gave my retirement speech the other day. Then was asked, so you're retiring? He said, I didn't say that. Okay. The mental and verbal gymnastics that Jim is always engaged in was on full display in his final official press conference as the Syracuse head coach ever. Was he pushed out by administration? Yeah. Yes, he was. And I don't blame the administration. It is an unceremonious end to a Hall of Fame career, but it is the end that Jim chose. And when I hear guys like PJ Carlissimo call it a disgrace, I'm sure over the course of today there will be other Jim Boeheim defenders or coaching colleagues or longtime college basketball people that say somewhat of the same thing. They will be misinformed. they will be misguided in that opinion, and here is why. Jim chose this exit. And that's a very important stipulation here. Jim Boeheim chose this exit. For the last 10 years, he's now 77, going to be 78 for next season. For the last 10 years, Syracuse's athletic department, not always the most properly run, might I add. So this is not an overall defense of the administration, but they have asked Jim for a timeline. Now, 10 years ago, Jim could have said, I want 5 more years. 10 years ago, he could have said, I want 8 more years. 10 years ago, he could have said, I want 10 more years. And they would have been given that to him. He refused to answer the question. I'll coach as long as I want to coach. Jim always wanted the control. Mike Hopkins was seemingly the self-appointed successor. He was a player under Boeheim in the 80s. He was a longtime assistant coach. He led the recruiting. Hop waited and waited and waited and waited. And he also waited for a timeline. It didn't matter if that timeline was 10 years. There was just some timeline in place. Ultimately, Mike Hopkins left for Washington because he, like the rest of everybody, was just going, it's fine if Jim wants to coach for a while, but I just need to know how long, what's the date on that? What's the expiration date here? Jim refused. Jim then recruited his sons to play and was again asked, is this a 4-year process here? You'll have 4 years with one of your sons, a year or 2 with your other son who transfers. Then at the end of that, is that maybe it? Jim refused to answer the question. Wouldn't give anybody any answer, no finality. Basically saying, I decide, and I'll let you know. Okay. Jim then comes to these last 2 seasons, and they're not a good basketball team. They're an under 500 team. They're a middle-of-the-pack ACC team that has bad non-conference losses. They lose to non-conference mid-majors at the Carrier Dome. And again, he is being asked, Jim, what would you like to do? I'm not answering. I decide. So now we come to this year, and in the last month of another losing season, and as an overview, for the last decade since they went to the ACC, they've been a middle-of-the-road team of the ACC. They're not Duke. They're not North Carolina. They're not Virginia. They're not winning national championships. They have a couple of Final Four runs, but those are primarily a middling team that gets hot in March because they confound the opponent with a 2-3 zone. Those are not 1 seeds and 2 seeds and 25-win teams or 30-win teams. Those are middle-of-the-road ACC teams that get knocked around for 3 months in the conference and then get to March and they move through 2 weekends because no one's ever seen the zone. We get to this year, last month. Jim snipes at student media, which, okay, he's done that for many years. He did that when I was there as well. But then goes on a tirade about how the media doesn't understand, the fans don't understand, nobody wants him to retire, the sport sucks now, everybody's cheating except him, and all the good coaches have left. Then they celebrate the 20th anniversary of the 2003 national championship team. Carmelo comes back, and they do this real cool thing, which, you know, is awesome for fans. But it is a reminder of how far they've fallen, that was 20 years ago. 20 years. And when you look at the program today versus where it was then, they're not getting Carmelo Anthony's anymore. They're not. They're not getting 5-star kids anymore. And they're missing the tournament. So that's a reminder of where they currently are. And then the coup de grace is plenty of fans in Syracuse are saying, hey, you know what? He's 78, missing the tournament, no 5-star kids, probably should retire. Drum beats growing louder. And Jim does a post-game press conference and says all these people that were in the building tonight, they don't call sports talk radio. Nobody that calls sports talk radio actually attends games. They're not the season ticket holders. They don't speak for the fans. They don't speak for the fan base, which we played this clip the other day, is just burying your head in the sand. If you don't think any of the 25,000 people that are there have called sports talk radio, I mean, you're out to lunch. Secondly, Jim himself routinely calls sports talk radio when he hears something he doesn't like and weighs in. So now you're just kind of ripping everybody all of the time, and the team's not good, and you still haven't given anybody any type of timeline. They're one and done of the ACC tournament. Once again, a middling season, no March Madness, what have you. And you've just basically said incorrect, inaccurate things. And I'm sure, I don't know this, but I'm sure the administration probably said, Jim, one more year, and then, you can announce the retirement, and next year we're going to have the send-off. And I'm sure Jim said, I make the call. To which they had to say, okay, if you're going to force us to force you out so that we look like the bad guys, now is the time. They've lost by 30-some-odd points to unranked teams this month. They've gotten drilled by mediocre competition. One and done in the ACC, and he's sniping at everybody that would dare question him. He dared them to make a decision. And so I'm sure his basketball brethren will side with Jim Boeheim today because the guy is a Hall of Fame head coach with more than 1,000 wins. He was an assistant coach on gold medal teams for Team USA. He won a national championship, 5 Final Fours. He had an amazing career. But I'm sure those Boeheim supporters will side with Boeheim today and make the administration look like the bad guys. Jim forced them to do this. It was either do this or just keep waiting until Jim stops coming to the facility. And Jim couldn't let his ego down. And it's his greatest flaw. The combativeness and the ego to always be right. He couldn't accept a swan song. He couldn't accept being done. He could have gotten applause. He could have gotten admiration. He could have gotten respect. He could have gotten honor. He couldn't. He couldn't do it. It wasn't in his DNA. He had to have control. He had to be right. He had to be right all of the time. You were always wrong. He was always right. And this is the end. And it is an end like Bobby Knight. It is an end like Woody Hayes. It is an end like a lot of coaches have, where you had control for all of these years, and you can be the tyrant, and you can be the bully, and you can be the guy that pushes everybody around. But at some point, somebody has to make a call because you're not winning anymore. And then you don't have the control and you don't know what to do. These college campus kings have been football and basketball coaches. And Jim's been the king for 47 years, and he likes being the king. And so he could never relent to anybody else's decision. Nobody else's opinion mattered. Not to say he wasn't a really good head coach. Of course he was. But he chose this path. And so when PJ Carlesimo calls it a disgrace, I have to say that's incorrect. Unless you believe Jim Boeheim created the disgraceful exit. Administration was left with no recourse but to either be the bad guy or let him just keep showing up to the facility forever until he croaks. That doesn't do anything for your program. Jim Calhoun ended up coaching at a Division III school because the time was up. Is that what Jim wants to do? Go to D3? Go coach Lemoyne? Go coach SUNY Cobleskill? I mean, this is what he forced the administration to do. And again, I'm not a huge SU defender when it comes to that athletic department, president, administration. But there was, what are you going to do? Just keep waiting until Jim finally croaks? That's not right. The program had flatlined. That has to be the decision. 855-212-4CBS is the phone number, or on Twitter, DA on CBS. We're going to do a bracket challenge here, NIT bracket challenge. We're excited about this. We're trying to find an appropriate punishment. Pete has not really liked a lot of the suggestions.
A lot?
All of the suggestions. Although he did say he would do the Gumby. He would dress up as Gumby and talk like Gumby.
Okay.
Yes.
So Pete has liked his only suggestion that's not a punishment. He has not liked all of the other suggestions that are punishments.
Gumby costume every day.
So what we decided is Mraz has 5 suggestions for punishments. I've got 5. Bogusch has 5.
I would actually say I now have 6, but yes.
We're going to pitch them to Pete.
Yep.
If Pete likes one of them, then we'll use that. If we go 0 for 15, it's a terrible batting average. 0 for 15, I say, Pete, you don't have to be part of this. We'll just do it ourselves. You get to sit it out. Don't have to worry about it.
But then he loses his vote in the 12 DAs.
Where did that come in from?
Producer call. Making a producer call.
Oh, you're finally making one.
Yeah, I thought about we'll get to it. I don't want to disdirect the show, but Pete had a major issue with Kaplan never being part in bets. That was part of the 12 DA fight, and he was right. Pete was right. But if Pete was right then, I have to be fair. Pete's got to hold up to his own standard then.
Well, because Pete's gripe about Cap having the vote in the 12 DAs was he didn't have to put his butt on the line.
Yeah, he doesn't do any of this other stuff. So if Pete's not going to put his butt on the line, then and we're going by the new rules then. If you're on this show, Kaplan included, don't put your butt on the line, you lose your 12 DA vote.
Does Kaplan still have his 12 DA vote? That's the question.
We'll see. He's got to agree to a punishment too and be a part of this. If he doesn't, same rules apply. He's out. Can't vote on the 12 DAs.
So this is for 12 DAs eligibility.
Yeah, if you feel like you cannot participate in paying off a punishment, this was Pete's idea. Cap, this goes for. Bogusch doesn't want to put anything in his mouth. Goes for him. You lose your 12 DA vote.
So then the consequences you come up with, if we pick one of them, you all have to do that, right? Correct?
Right.
Just making sure?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there was some thought about like kind of naming the brackets after our own punishment, which I'm okay with, or I'm okay with everybody doing the same one. Doesn't matter to me, but let's think about it.
Okay, right. There could be specific punishments for each person, or there could be one universal punishment.
Correct. But let's just get there. First, the whole thing is we know that you, me, and for the most part, Bogues are all in on whatever a punishment brings our way. It's Pete we have to convince on a punishment.
Okay, so if you're going to do it for me, if you're going to do the individual punishments, we have to do this for everybody else.
Well, and that's fair. If yours is really good and you agree to it, then we all could do it. Let's just see where we get there and what you approve. And Kaplan's already chimed in and says, I need that vote. Bring on all punishments.
Oh, wow.
All punishments.
I need that vote. Bring on all punishments is what he said?
Yep. So he's willing to do anything.
He's next then.
Next for what?
He's next to have the 15 punishments thrown at him.
Well, I guess he's just agreeing to whatever the universal punishment.
Yeah, we're giving 15 to you because, like conceivably, I don't even want to say this. Me, DA, Bogues, and Cap will all eat the bugs.
Right. We'll all eat the bugs.
That's cute for you. Enough with the bugs. Yeah, exactly. So because you won't
I'm
do
not
that.
setting up your one-liners here, all right? I mean, be funnier.
Okay, well, hey, we're going to pitch them coming up next. A little pitch session. That's what they do in Hollywood. Pitch session. We're going to pitch them to Pete and see what script passes the mustard. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Appointed. My team is now in the middle of the attention here. Rexadelphia tweets, no research needed for this tool, you bleeping gas bag.
Wow. Gas bag. Not used often enough.
Tim tweets, please fall in a shower.
Oh, that's mean.
Very specific.
Very.
He didn't tell you to crack your head, did he?
He's thought this one out.
Like something that happened to somebody he knows, so he knows how bad it can be, so therefore he's wishing it on you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not just a sprained ankle, I don't think. Michael tweets, holy God, this is probably the worst take I've ever heard. Do you even know what sports are? Matt tweets, this guy's eyes are way too far apart. That's not nice.
That's not true.
I don't think so either.
I think it's because of the mouth thing, so people probably think your eyes are further apart. But I think you have nice eyes.
We'll get to that. Doug Peterson's hair tweets. Don't trust a guy with Muppet teeth. Thanks, Doug Peterson's hair.
I don't think Muppets have teeth, but for the record.
I don't think so either. This guy's name is No TJ McConnell Slander Allowed. Just simply calls me Ass Clown. Jeremy tweets, take your salt sandwich and shove it up your bleep. Kevin tweets, shut up, Danny Amendola. John tweets, you literally have zero credibility. I don't get how people like you even have jobs in the media. It's a sad state we're in when a no-talent clown like you has a media voice. Thanks for my 15-year media career and my 4 years in journalism school, and even before that, my internships, John. Evan tweets, shut your trout face ass up. I don't know if that's a Mike Trout reference or I look like a trout. Melvin tweets, this is hands down the dumbest thing I've ever listened to. Please stop doing radio. Go back to your mom's basement, which ironically is where I believe most of the people on this Twitter thread actually are sending their tweets from. Don tweets, LOL, nobody gives a bleep what you think, you crumb. Never been called a crumb before, but... Nick tweets, how are you even in radio? You don't know what you're talking about. Respond now, you donkey. So he wants a response. And finally, my favorite, this is a Twitter handle whose title is 13 years, 33 mil. That's his Twitter handle. Who says, shut up, you dollar store Ed Helms looking bleep.
Ed Helms?
You need a cap side by side on that ASAP to figure that out.
Philly fans, you're adorable.
Anybody dabbling in horse droppings while typing those tweets to you? No?
So like I said, watch out for social media. It can get you.
1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Please knock. Dan in Mechanicsburg is asleep in the Lazy Boy. The DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Listen to the podcast of the show. It's the best of the show for the full 4 hours. It's available by searching The DA Show on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Sunday is Selection Sunday. This is exciting. Great college basketball weekend straight ahead. Next week, we're into the NCAA tournament. And when this comes around, we've done a bracket challenge every year where the punishment on the line. Some years it's been dressing up as an oversized bunny and embarrassing yourself in the hallways of CBS Sports Radio in the Odyssey building. Other times it's been eating the hottest salsa known to man, Death by Salsa. One year was eating Death by Salsa with Peeps, if you remember.
Peeps with salsa?
Disgusting. We've had some really good punishments. This year, though, we wanted to move off of hot stuff. We've done
Well,
that.
like peeps, meaning what? People?
And we wanted a creative new bet. And this is
Peeps with salsa.
It's going to be based on the NIT bracket because the best part about that is nobody knows anything. We don't know where the games are going to be played, who's very good, who bails on it, who can afford to be in it. I mean, it's great.
You don't pay for the NIT. The CBI you pay your way into.
But there are some schools that just don't decide to do the NIT, even though they're invited.
This is correct.
It's just all types of amazing.
You know, that's embarrassing to pay to be in a tournament.
Exactly.
Yeah, the CBI says you can play if you give me 50 grand.
That's ridiculous. It has some pride.
So we wanted to put something on the line, and we pitched eating insects. Okay, a bunch of grasshoppers or mealyworms or whatever, grubs.
And not ones you pick off the street.
Yeah. Ones that are sold at stores or sold at ballparks.
For people to eat. So just so you know how ridiculous some might say no to that would be.
Pete said, no with the bugs. No with the bugs. I'm not doing the bugs. He said, quote, I'm not doing the bugs. Okay. So we started pitching some other stuff.
Now he won't say it.
He's trying to get me to say the line. I'm not going to say it because he's annoying me now.
So we tried other things. I thought they were relatively reasonable, like setting Pete on fire.
Yeah, very reasonable.
He didn't say yes to that.
In a Gumby flame retardant suit.
So we said, okay, you know what? Enough fun and games. Let's get down to the brass tacks here. Cue the music, Pete. We have, each one of us have 5 suggestions. If Pete doesn't agree to any of these 15, then Mraz has suggested he loses his vote in the 12 Days of Christmas and he just sits out. But that renders him ineligible for the 12 DA's vote. So, Mraz, lead us off. What are your 5 suggestions?
Real quickly, it's going to be 6 because off of yesterday, now I have to say, Pete is a bathroom attendant at Citi Field, picked the bathroom, and has to ask people 1 or 2 as they walk in the door. For however many innings we decide, 1 or 2, not allowing anybody to go number 1 in the stall.
I'll write that email too.
God, that is good. So, okay, bathroom attendant. That's one of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Number 2, every time for a month's worth of shows, meaning 20 shows, Pete goes to answer something or say something, could be Trash Tuesday, Thirsty Thursday, or anything. Before he says his point, he has to utter into the microphone, I'm a grown, sad man that watches fake wrestling. Every single time for 20 shows. And then he can make his point.
What's the quote?
I'm a grown, sad man that watches fake wrestling.
Okay. I don't think he's going to agree to that one.
All right. The next one is a throwback to Peter Schwartz doing this. He has to shave my back on the air. A little throwback decade of DA.
That's true. Schwartz did do that to you in the first year on the overnight.
Yep, made me purr like a walrus. The other one I had was he has to lick my chair in the final segment of every show for a week straight.
You have to lick your chair?
I get up, I'm
Gross.
done with the show. 5 straight days, you lick my chair. That's how the show ends.
You can say a no to that.
By the way, this is everybody's punishment. If we agree to this, it's everybody's punishment.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Again, yeah. That
So
could
the
be part-
loser licks your chair.
Whoa, I thought these were person specific.
Well, we can do one of the 2. I think they should be the universal punishment, but we did say if Pete agrees to one of them, then we would all get, individual punishments as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And, unless we all like the one that Pete agrees to.
But the point is, we should be pitching punishments to Pete that we would also do.
Okay. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't say I'm a grown, sad man. I was doing,
That's true.
Yeah, like I made Pete specific punishments that wouldn't be punishments for other people.
It's workshopping. Let's just go through these and see what Pete agrees to. All right. The other one I had was Pete would have to wear a Yankee shirt and a hat for an entire show once a week the entire baseball
You can
season.
rule that out. No way.
Yankees hat and jersey.
And jersey, dressed like a Yankee once a week the entire baseball season until they're eliminated.
No, absolutely
And then
not.
when the Yankees are eliminated, he can stop doing it.
Goodbye. No, you can cross that off right now.
Well, okay. All right. So, Pete, I hope there's one of them in there that is somewhat...
Well, and this will be the next one. I think everybody could do this. Dress as a shoe shiner, old school from the 1920s, and 3 separate shows, you have to shoe shine the other 3 people or capscase the 4 people's shoes for an entire segment while we're talking through it. So the camera is on and DA's having a take, and one of the days Pete's down there and he's shining his shoes.
Okay.
How many shows? 4 shows?
Yeah, it'd be like for whoever. So like there'll be some kind of shoe shiner cam, one segment, a whole week per show. This is the take, and watch if you want to watch Pete, shine whoever's shoes.
So wait, you're not immediately dismissing shoe shining after poo-pooing parking cars?
That's where I got the idea.
I'll have my answer at the end here.
Didn't see that one coming.
I'll have
All
my
right.
answer at the end here.
Bogus?
I have a thought process.
Okay. So in no particular order, number 1 would be no wrestling content for a month, a la Boyle giving up women for a month. This would be Petey's abstinence. No wrestling
Can't
content
watch Royal Rumble.
for the month into Bob's Bar.
No Raw.
Nothing.
No AEW.
And obviously, honor system would be very much in play, like with Boyle, because we can't be with him 24/7. So we have to trust Pete to stay away from magazines, podcasts, blog posts,
Magazines.
Twitter, wherever you find your wrestling
Ring
stuff.
magazine.
Yeah, can't. No. Grow your hair out for a month.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a great
Cross
one.
that off as that happening.
That's a really good one.
Another one that's somewhat in line with the Sean suggestion: full Yankee or full Patriot uniform at the Bob's Bar show.
Cross that off. That's not happening.
I don't know why that's so bad too. Now these
Because
two are a
it's the
little
Yankees.
these two are a little more fun than anything else. I would suggest you can't make June's schedule until May. And you'd have to provide a full accounting of your days off year to date as of Bob's Bar show.
You have to account for all of your days off?
We want in writing with the correct delineation of what kind of day it was, vacation,
fun.
personal, sick.
Not for you.
Excel
list.
spreadsheet due the morning of Bob's Bar
It's
show.
not fun at all.
The Mitchell report?
Yes. My friends at PwC will come in and audit your time off. They'll come out with a briefcase like at the award show. We
need
have the
receipts.
results.
We need receipts on every day off.
Up until now, only John Smith from PricewaterhouseCoopers knows the results.
Like the draft lottery. Like the NBA draft lottery. Okay, that's your 5?
That's my... I said to you coming in, I wish this was physically possible to make Pete use Sean's brain for a week. But I don't think we could accomplish that, or anyone could.
Yeah, get really drunk and that's it.
Science. My 5 are actually generic, so if we like these, this could be everybody's punishment, okay? Number 1, war crime. Stick 5 warheads in your mouth at the same time.
Ugh.
5 warheads.
Okay.
Number 2, simply put, this is an 80s throwback for Pete, the truffle shuffle. Chunk in the Goonies wants to get into the house. They say, first off, Chunk, you got to do the truffle shuffle. He gets up on the fence post, pulls up his shirt, bare belly, and has to wriggle like this as he goes, do the truffle shuffle.
All right, so basically me brushing my teeth every morning.
Or walking.
Number 2, dunk tank at Bob's Bar.
Yeah.
Loser wears Mraz's oldest basketball jersey, nothing underneath, and puts a pair of Mraz's underwear over top of the bathing suit or shorts.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
And then gets dunked. Okay?
I have some good ripped ones yesterday.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
hold on
sure
to
they're
them.
stained and ripped, but they do get to go over your shorts.
Yeah, they were white Ralph Lauren's from 2006.
Because if that's the only thing you're wearing, it's
They're Fruit of the Loom.
It's going to fall apart. Number 4, something called dog days. You put 3 hot dogs in your mouth, and at Bob's Bar, Badlands Booker slaps you in the face with hot dogs.
Is that a fantasy? What is this?
Wait a second.
I put 3 hot dogs in my mouth. And he slapped me hot dogs as I ate 3 hot dogs.
Correct. He gets to slap you across the face with hot
Are
dogs.
they cooked?
I don't know.
And
They're
I have to-
raw, they're cooked. There's no bun, though. It's just...
And I got to keep him in my mouth while he slaps me? Like it's a...
So the slap thing is a real thing. The tortilla slap has become a big social media thing.
Oh, really?
So this is like that. This would be a hot dog. So hot dogs in my mouth, hot dogs in Badlands' hand, and we're just slapping dogs. Slapping meat.
Yeah. And number 5, which I find to be the most damning, the most daunting, it's called story time.
Did you have to come up with a DA show headline
I know.
for all of them?
I also think this is 6.
No, this is 5. In story time, you must sit in a room for 20 minutes with Jack Stern. He serves you tea and crumpets, and he recites "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" to you.
This is my Gumby suit. How do I win that?
Story time. You got 20 minutes, silent room. We got cameras in there, and you have to endure towards the night before Christmas, recited by Jack Stern over
Seriously, I want that to be my prize for winning the NIT bracket. That sounds amazing.
It doesn't. No, it sounds horrible.
I think that's the worst one.
Sign me up.
Horrible.
I think that's by far the
Here's
worst
the
one.
other thing. It's also the most dangerous. You don't know if you're getting out of that room after 20 minutes.
I'll take my chances.
There will be cameras in there. And I don't know if we do this live during the show.
Well, here's the thing. We may agree to that. Is Jack Stern agreed
Yes.
to that?
I would think so.
Yes.
I would think so.
I think it's got to be done at Jack Stern's house. Like, that's got to be the rule. You bring the cameras. You got to make the venture to his house.
Okay, well, that's different because I'm assuming that is set up to keep me inside, so I would be worried about that. But if we're just in a tent or like your kid's little plastic picnic table in your backyard, he's whatever a crumpet is, and I got my pinky off my teacup, and he's telling me stories, I'm in.
Has to be an open field where people can see you.
Yes. Yeah. We'll meet in the mall in the food court.
Right.
Many witnesses.
Right. Picnic table. That's it.
All right, so those are the pitches. Pete, tell
There's
us
a
how
lot of there's a lot of possibilities here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, the bathroom attendant would be funny. The shoe signer would actually, I think, would be a good bit for the show. The no wrestling content, I don't know how that plays on the air. I could do it, whatever.
You could go a full month?
I could do it, yeah. The schedule thing, fine. It falls into that category. I could do it, but how much fun we're getting out of that? The 5 warheads I could do. The dunk tank I could do. I don't know. I really want to know more details about the hot dog slap.
Yeah, that one seems
half-baked.
There's still questions about if I'm getting hit with frozen hot dogs. No way.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, but thawed hot dogs.
No, or cooked hot dogs. Something like that.
Okay.
The Jack Stern thing. Now the 2 things I think that we should, if we're gonna do them, it should be everybody. The Jack Stern thing or the lick the chair thing. If we're doing the lick the chair thing, it has to be everybody.
No.
Because I'm not doing that on my own.
TA size.
I'm not licking a chair once, let alone 5 days. No chance.
We all could do the bathroom attendant thing, too.
Right. Or the shoe signer.
Or the warheads.
Yeah, all of your suggestions, DA, I would be okay with being the thing. But I do, in general, as we're workshopping this, I like the idea of each one of us having our own danger.
Yeah, maybe we should, because I think we have some possibilities for each one.
But I also do think I specifically want a Pete-specific punishment. If we all end up doing that's fine, but like some of them obviously wouldn't make sense. But like because Pete made such a big deal about what he would do, I still feel like he needs to have a special one.
Okay.
If he has one and the rest of us have the same...
I got the special one for me. The dunk tank. I'll do the dunk tank at Bob's Bar.
Okay.
God, I want the Jack Stern punishment. I might throw the whole thing.
That would be that if we do it individually, that'll be mine.
Do you guys think that that's enough of a punishment?
Sean's underwear on? Give me a break.
But it's over a bathing suit. So I like the idea of the punishment. It's good imagery. I don't know. I don't want to sound too biased. I really want Pete in there putting up the 1s and 2s to people in Citi Field. I'm obsessed with that idea.
Drunk guys? No way.
Would we have to ask the Mets for permission, or would this be a rogue thing that we'd sneak in and...
You probably would have to.
Or you do a rogue thing until we get ejected.
Yeah, right. You just go to the upper deck.
That's exactly what I want to do. Get ejected.
Well, that's even funnier if Cap's there with a camera watching you get escorted out of your favorite stadium because you told people they couldn't go number 1 in his stall.
I can't go to my favorite team stadium.
They're not going to ban you for it.
Nope. We'll cross that off the list.
Yeah, I mean, there is a personal, professional danger in that. Like, we can't get in trouble at Citi Field.
Let's go to Yankee Stadium then and do it. You don't care if you get
Takes
tossed out of
forever
there.
to get over there. No.
Or a minor league stadium. Go to a Long Island Duck game or
Yeah,
something.
we could do a Ducks game.
Okay.
Maybe they'll be home the night of Bob's Bar. We leave Bob's Bar. We go to the Duck game, and now that's the whole buildup. How's Pete going to do? Escorting people in and out of the bathroom.
And they'd love it. I mean, they'd sign up for the publicity.
All right, if it's the Ducks, all right, fine.
Yeah.
If it's the Ducks and they're involved in it, it's a nice thing.
Could you imagine him sitting there going, "Excuse me, sir, 1 or 2," and having to do that the whole freaking game?
Right. Because, again, I might have to host a pre-game show of a Mets playoff game in October. I can't be coming off an ejection for verbally confusing people in the bathroom. I can't be kicked out of Citi Field.
All right.
And then come back and lead into a pregame.
Okay, I will do the bathroom thing as a personal punishment. If we do it at Long Island Ducks, at whatever the park name is now.
Okay.
If we go into the game as a group, We watch the game, but that's part of it. Not every inning, but at least like a couple innings.
And I'm not trying to push that narrative. It just that we could be talking about a punishment that is an idea off of what could end up being the number 112 DA of Christmas.
That's fine. All right. So if we do it that way, 2 innings.
Are there enough people going to the bathroom at Long Island Ducks games, though?
Yes, there are, but not for 2. He's got to do longer than 2 innings. Maybe not 9, but you can't do 2 innings.
I'm not sitting in there for 9
What about
innings.
what about a head count?
And I think actually it's when the game goes official. 5.5 innings, right?
I guess.
That's
it's
a little-
quick. It's
No,
minor
4.5.
baseball
All right,
and
back to
pace
the-
of play.
No, back to the dunk tank.
What do you care now? You're
I'm
going to
not-
score Bud Harrelson's
No,
double
it's
play
not.
here?
No, it's being in a bathroom for 5 innings.
Yeah.
That's that's gross.
But there has to be a punishment that you don't want to do.
But this is also the thing.
You get no. Wait a minute. Hold on. Stop
Pete's
it.
causing
Stop it.
people to
Stop
be
it.
in a bathroom for
Stop
5.5
it. You
innings
gave
by
me-
using the stall.
You gave me 15 things. I put on this list a bunch of them I would do. So I could pick any one of these. It can't be, oh, no, you can't pick it.
Let's
So let me
negotiate.
pick the item.
Let's
I get
negotiate.
to pick the item, just like you guys will get to pick the item for yourselves.
Tell us what a fair amount of time in your mind is.
2 innings.
2 innings? How about 2 innings or
No.
X amount of people?
2 innings.
Because what if nobody shows up in the 4th and the 5th?
2 innings or I'm doing the dunk tank. That's it.
That's my fear. I think 2 innings works at Citi Field. I don't think 2 innings works at a duck.
No,
Yeah.
2 innings and I'll do the dunk tank.
2 innings or 20 people. And I'll have a little
Here's what
counter in my hands.
I'll give you a counter. I'll do the dunk tank as I'm doing the hot dog slap. So put the 3 hot dogs in, put the 3 hot dogs in me, and then you guys can throw hot dogs at me, and then I get dunked.
What if we hollow out a hot dog and use it as a snorkel after you go in the dunk tank?
No.
Will you put hot dogs in your mouth and Badlands slaps you with a kielbasa? And then you get dunked.
Okay. Don't hurt me. I don't want to be hurt by it.
And you have to sniff the short chef
No,
brand
yeah.
of bar.
No,
Can we tie your hands with sausage links?
I'm giving it to you right
What are we
now. I'm giving it to you right now. Dunk tank with the attire that you guys just said. Right. I'll do the 3 hot dogs. Have to be cooked in the mouth.
And kielbasa.
Not in the mouth.
No,
Throw 'em.
kielbasa slap. Kielbasa slap.
Once.
One slap. One
And
kielbasa slap.
as I'm on the dunk tank, you could throw cooked hot dogs at me.
And Badlands has to burp in his face.
No,
Good
no,
one. That's
no.
a good one.
No,
That's
That's
a good one.
No,
That's a good
that's
one.
disgusting.
No. I gave you all these items. I gave you 2 of the items that you recommended
Yeah.
into one. Give me a break. All right, that's it. What it's going to be, and it's not going to be anything else. All right, that's it.
Should this be everybody's punishment? Dunk tank, hot dogs, kielbasa slap.
I think if we agree it's everybody's punishment, but we also agree Badlands gets the burp in our face.
I'm not doing the burp in the face.
How about...
I think that's fair.
See, I would argue that the hot dog edition is Pete's particular punishment. The rest of us just get dunked in random Sean clothing.
But you have to have the burp.
But to be
No,
also...
the burp, that's disgusting.
No, hold on.
That's
Yes.
just, come on, no.
You
need something you don't
also
wanna do.
should- Pete
Right,
also
that's-
shouldn't be getting extra punished. He didn't do anything wrong.
No,
We're all losing the
I
same thing.
picked 2 things into one. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else. That's my punishment. We pick punishments for everyone else.
At some point, we need to be sanitary, too. We can't have another human being burping in our face.
He's not burping in my face.
I mean, I
don't
think
care.
I have a fetish. I
don't-
love Badlands to book in my face. It's like taking a fastball to the chin from
He's
Nolan
not.
Ryan.
He's not burping in my
Which
face.
everyone
If you
signs
love
up for.
competitive eating and you get the opportunity of Badlands to burp in your face, I mean, that is something you die and you go to the
There's
grave with.
no chance he's burping in my face.
That's a good one.
Period.
That's a really good one. It's a really good one. I mean, because it's so disgusting.
Can I do nothing and just have Badlands burp in my face at Bob's Bar?
Yeah, go ahead, sweetheart.
Can we just do that? I
can do
really
that.
want that. I'm like so curious morbidly of what that smells like.
I hope your kids are listening to this right now.
Will your dog get jealous?
All right, so we have the suggestions. If you want to weigh in on Twitter, let us know what you think.
Wait, no. I picked it.
I realize that, Pete, but
I
we have
picked the
to,
item.
well, we have to decide whether this is going to be a universal punishment or just a specific punishment.
I think it should be specific. I think it's fun to pick items for everybody else.
Okay, well,
we should. I mean, we don't let those vote on 12 days. We should not vote on the punishment, at least vote on what they think. Should we each? Because you picked it, but maybe they want all of us to do the same thing. Or
Okay,
whatever.
all right.
I think that maybe we could throw a bone to listeners. And one more I'm just going to throw at you. We could also play the game Dingleberry or Chocolate
No,
Chip.
we're not playing that.
And
You
it's a
can play-
50-50 shot.
No, that's a game that only you played because you're a dope. The rest of us are not doing it.
that honestly is like Saw 6. That is the most terrifying film I could ever
I'd rather
imagine.
cut off my foot.
Choosing between what I think might be a chocolate chip or a dog dingleberry and having to eat it is the most terrifying thing I could think of.
You could do that right after Balin burps in your face. You maybe do it right after that. Wash it down.
All right. Bogue says headlines.
Do I? According to friend of the show, Diana Rossini, there is optimism within the Jets organization that they are on the brink of trading for Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
The two teams are still talking about compensation and reworking Rodgers' contract. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of Boyle-esque. There's not specifics to it. There's not a firm thing. It's we think we may be close to getting Aaron Rodgers. It's a little bit of a report, but it's not like it's actually about to happen.
Right.
The Jets could be completely misreading the situation and are happy and excited for the wrong reasons.
It's kind of perfectly humiliating, though, if the Jets release, we think we're on the brink,
Right.
and then he says no.
Nah. 47 years, 5 Final Fours, 1 national title. Jim Boeheim no longer Syracuse's head coach yesterday. The school's announcement did not say retired, stepping down, fired, no word like that, and it did not include any quotes from Boeheim. Mark Adams stepped down as Texas Tech head coach last night, shortly after getting suspended for making a racially insensitive comment to his players. And former Texas coach Chris Beard, the reported favorite for the Ole Miss job. Beard was fired in January for his December domestic violence arrest. Charges were dropped last month. On the court last night, repeat winners everywhere.
A lob comes into the front court. Battle catches, and the Montana State Bobcats have a bubbling dynasty in Bozeman. 2 straight years to the NCAA tournament.
Jason Benetti on Westwood won. The Bobcats back-to-back Big Sky titles, 85-78 over Northern Arizona. Texas A&M Corpus Christi did the double in the Southland.
That's even better.
75-71 over Northwestern
Corpus Christi.
State. And it's a Patriot League three-peat for Colgate, 79-61 over Lafayette. In the NBA, Kevin Durant, a late scratch from his son's home debut after twisting his ankle in layup lines pregame. Head coach Monty Williams was asked postgame if he knows how bad the ankle is.
No, we don't. Right now, we'll get more testing done tomorrow. But right now, it's just a ankle sprain, and we don't have anything official to report.
The Suns recovered to win the game, 132-101 over the Thunder. As coach said, Durant gets further testing, including an MRI today. Same for Luka Doncic, who hurt his left thigh in the third quarter in New Orleans last night. The Mavs then lost 113-106. It's a busy day 2 at the World Baseball Classic. Australia outscored South Korea in Tokyo 8-7 right now. Japan leads China 4-1 in the 8th. Shohei Ohtani pitched the first 4 innings of that one, allowed 1 base runner with 5 Ks. In Taiwan, the Netherlands topped Panama 3-1 to improve to 2-0, and Italy has a 2-1 lead in the 7th over Cuba. And from the NHL, the Wild were Winnipegs over the Jets 4-2 for an 11-game point streak, and Detroit topped Chicago 4-3 to end a 6-game slide. DA, back to you.
Nice. We'll do Stun next hour. When we come back, will Tom Brady make a good cat dad? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Welcome to an episode of Nomad where there's something a little fishy going on. There are very few days in American culinary history quite as iconic as a certain day in 1963, when a McDonald's franchisee owner in Cincinnati, Ohio said there had to be some other solution. You see, in a Roman Catholic neighborhood of that southern Ohio city, it was Lent. And in this enclave, nobody was eating meat on Fridays. So this very intrepid hamburger restaurateur developed 2 new options: the filet of fish and a pineapple sandwich. A grilled piece of pineapple with some cheese on top of a bun. Knowing the eating habits of Americans, which one do you think survived? It's March. I've been watching a lot of college basketball in the NCAA tournament, and there's been tons of advertisements surrounding fish sandwiches, both McDonald's and a competitor in Arby's. It caught my attention because the fish fillet is pouring out from over the bun. I mean, could that sandwich really be that gigantic? Could it really dominate the iconic McDonald's filet of fish? I know you've got questions. I need answers as well.
You know, the McDonald's Filet-O-Fish sandwich is almost like Joe DiMaggio patrolling center field for the Yankees back in the 30s and 40s, just stacking rings and hardware, considered the best. Nobody ever really questioning it. And then a bolder, splashier star prospect came onto the scene to try to displace that sandwich, that being Mickey Mantle, obviously the Arby's fish sandwich. I need to get to the bottom of this. All right, so let's dig in. My first reaction was to be kind of excited. Snark all you want, but the Filet-O-Fish is an American institution. And I always get a little bit fired up to eat something that's only on the menu for a specific time of the year. This known scientifically as the McRib effect. Although I realize McDonald's offers the Filet-O-Fish year-round, it just feels more authentic eating it at Lent. You know what I mean? Now the price, 2 for $5.44, 1 for $5.11. This was my first head scratcher. I didn't want 2 sandwiches, but I'd be paying basically $5 for 1 or $5.40 for 2. So I guess another fish sandwich it is. What kind of fish is it? Good question. The McDonald's website says it's Alaskan pollock, sourced from sustainable fisheries. Aha. Apparently it was originally pollock, and then hoki in the 90s when pollock was facing low numbers. Now it seems like there might be some cod and some hoki and then back to pollock. Look, I got a tough time believing there's only one kind of fish in this. Here's the analysis. This is basically a fish stick in a cake form. I ate fish sticks as a kid, and this was basically a few of those smashed into a patty. The taste of cheese, not even detectable. In fact, it was hiding under the fillet like it was embarrassed to even be associated. That's cheese? Immediately, I kind of felt weird eating it. It was like chewing on packing peanuts that got mistakenly swept into the deep fryer. The bun? Probably the worst part. It was stale, it was cracked, like they barely even tried. The tartar sauce was fine, kind of dressed it up, but it was putting lipstick on a hogfish. Great value, I suppose. I mean, 2 of these bad boys for $5.40. But damn, I needed water. Everything is so salty there. And the guy mopping up was a really nice touch. The smell of chlorine and floor cleaner stung the nostrils perfectly. It would have really paired nicely with a urinal cake merlot. It was edible, but not really enjoyable. In fact, I was a little queasy afterwards. I definitely...
.30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This year, like last year, the best is right here on CBS.
It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
So reports were, according to Rich Eisen, the scuttlebutt of the scouting combine was Brady may not be done yet. Brady then retweeted one of these reports and said, anyone who thinks I have time to come back to the NFL has never adopted a 2-month-old kitten for their daughter. Guys, how do we think that Tom Brady would be as a cat dad?
I think attentive. I really do believe that. I think attentive because I get the vibe he is a good dad. You know, he may have annoyed his wife, but I think with a cat, how could he not be? And also, well, you put out the food. Come on, with a cat, you change the litter box. I think he'd be attentive.
Yeah, he does seem like when he wants to be present, he can be. He can be warm and loving to his kids. It seems like, at least on the... I think if he had football, he'd be really distracted, which has got to be the reason why Giselle was so upset. But if he doesn't have football, he'd be a good cat dad. With football, I worry.
Yeah, and look, football he showed, and with keeping his budget, he is a dedicated person, right? And
Right.
it takes dedication to be a good animal father. So I think he'd be a really good cat dad. I think he'd be perfect.
But Giselle didn't like when he was playing football. She must have thought he wasn't attentive to the family. So I think it would be different if he was playing.
I agree. This is why this is why he's pointing to why he can't come back and play for the Dolphins. He's got to take care of the cat.
Pete, would you trust Tom Brady taking care of your kitten?
I would trust him, but I don't think he'd be the best.
No?
He's all occupied with stuff.
Well, he's not really doing anything right now.
Well, especially now. Like, once he's completely away and he's doing the Fox thing, you have to travel there. Then you're going to have the kids at some point during the week, whatever arrangement they have. And he's going to be very busy. So I think the cat's going to be taking a back seat.
Kids would love him.
Now, this suggests that he's with the kids all the time, right? I mean, if he's helping his daughter with a 2-month-old kitten, it can't just be on Saturday and Sunday.
Do you think they're still living in the same house?
Well, that is interesting, right? This kind of suggests that. Not that this is totally serious, but if he's caring about taking care of a kitten, it can't just be 2 days a week.
Yeah, and the Brady and Giselle, I mean, they're not living in a high ranch here. I mean, they got to have a mansion with a pool house. Maybe they're still actually like living on the same property.
Or nearby one another, and Brady goes over there every day?
Enough to help with the cat, yeah. I think Brady, you know what, you guys, we could disrespect Brady about a lot of things. He'd be good with that feline.
Yeah, I think he's been good with felines in the past, and I would trust him now.
Somebody just go check on him. Give him a cat scan.
Okay. When we come back on the show, NFL offensive line, Waka Waka. NFL offensive lineman Kelvin Beacham's going to join us. We'll talk a little offseason NFL with Kelvin Beacham coming up here next. And I think we might be honing in on the NIT punishment. DA, CBS Sports Radio. Don't go to the ballpark then.
Right.
You don't have to go to this game.
Oh, stop.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. If you cannot go to urinal, you should not be allowed in the stadium.
Then you're terrified of people. Then just stay home.
No, you're being ridiculous.
Why can't you go to the urinal?
Come on. What if
why do you need a stall to go number one?
What if you don't think about this stuff? What if you can go to a stall and go to a urinal as well? Maybe, hey, one day I don't want to use the urinal. The other day I just want to go in the stall.
I don't want to.
What about if you just want to use a stall one day?
What does that mean? I just want to use a stall.
It's just I'm going to the bathroom. Oh, hey, I want to use a stall this time, and not the urinal.
So you want to eat a lollipop for dinner as well? I mean, you don't just get to do whatever you want.
Right. Whoa, what if I want to run this red light?
It's just like telling people I don't want you in my elevator. You can't do that.
You guys sometimes are terrible at comparisons. This is like running a red light, Sean. Going in the
well, you're holding people
in the stall.
Up. Is that fair to the guy?
Guys, we've been to a million games, a million concerts. There's always lines for urinals to the point where people go into the stall to pee to beat the line.
That's a different situation.
We're
talking about the opposite.
But you
to throw that out. That's a straw man argument. Nobody's saying there's not enough urinals, so use the toilet. This is taking up a toilet because you're scared of the urine.
But my point is, there's never a run on toilets that you can't go pee in there real quick and get out of the way.
That's the whole point. Bogus, you got to remove yourself from the conversation.
Okay.
That's the whole argument.
The whole argument is in these new
That's why Steve Ballmer's putting in toilets, because there's too many. There's not enough toilets.
There's usually, you get in and there's like 6 toilets and 70 urinals, and you always walk in and you realize the line is backed up because there's 4 open urinals and 6 people are deep on the. This happens all the time locally, these venues. I don't know what's going on at Dave Matthews concerts, and maybe you've seen that. I'm just telling you what I've seen, and it's got to stop. If you have a stomach bug, if you have a stomach bug and you're screwed because Pete the Body Bilotti's afraid to go in the urinal, is that fair?
Did I just say, you know what I just said? I did not say I was scared to go on the urinal.
But you just said you just wanted to. You didn't give us a reason.
Well, yeah, maybe one day I want to just use the toilet.
You can't just say that. Are you scared of using
Why can't I just say that?
Because what does that mean? Because I don't just come in here and go, guys, you know what? I'm just going to talk about horses all day. I have to talk about sports, Pete. You got to do sometimes what you don't want to do.
I'm on the line to go to the urinal or use the toilet. I can use either one to do whatever I have to.
Well, yes, you can do whatever you want any time in life. That's not the point here. The point is you're taking up resources from somebody that needs them, and you don't need it.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Good morning.
Morning, DA. How are you?
CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, what's up, DA? Permission to enter the mothership, brother.
Ever heard a sports talk show like this before? Didn't think so.
What's going on, Dirty?
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
DA, how you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm feeling great.
I'm doing great.
Happy Thursday, boys and girls. One question only. How do you feel?
Well, I feel good and I'm doing well.
That's all that really matters, and we appreciate you being with us. It is a thirsty Thursday, so we're toasting to the good stuff. Tweet at me, DA on CBS, and we'll get your toasts in there. We're waiting on Kelvin Beachum, NFL offensive lineman, a prized offensive line free agent this offseason. See where his head's at coming up here shortly. Daryl tweets, I'm toasting to the Royals for bringing back the all-powder blues for opening day. Hashtag Forever Royal.
Booskies.
Yeah, they look sweet, don't they? The all-powder blues, and they promoted it with George Brett being in them. And the only thing that weirded me out was George Brett wearing a modern, baggy baseball powder blues, considering in his era, the 70s and 80s, it was always a tight baseball-fitting uniform in the powder blue. So it looked awkward on George, but overall, yeah, it's awesome to see them come back. Our next guest was a standout at SMU, drafted into the NFL, played for the Steelers, Jaguars, and Jets. In the last 3 seasons has been with the Cardinals. He was the only offensive lineman to start all 17 games last season. He is a free agent, so we'll see what teams are bidding on his services when free agency begins. Joining us this morning on the show is Kelvin Beachum. Kelvin, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much for joining us. You can watch Kelvin join us on the simulcast at watchda.com, also on YouTube and on Twitch. We just had the scouting combine, people going goo goo gaga over Anthony Richardson and other guys running 40-yard dashes and things like that. How much stock do you put in the scouting combine?
At the end of the day, can this man move another man? And if he can do that, he'll be in the National Football League for a number of years. But the combine is just one small piece of the equation. But at the end of the day, it's can you move another man?
Yeah, I kind of feel like the the combine is for the scouts that just need to keep busy. But I mean, how many times did you look at a guy on the football field and said, well, he must have had a great combine, that's why he's so good? I mean, for you guys in the trenches, whatever happened to the combine, you must all feel like doesn't really matter, right?
It doesn't matter. What matters is what they put on tape on Sundays. It's a performance-based business. The combine is just one small piece of the equation to evaluate talent. But at the end of the day, I want to see what he's doing on Sundays. When I turn that film on Monday after that Sunday game, how is he either wreaking havoc? How is he stopping somebody? Is he explosive? Is he going to be somebody that we have to worry about and game plan around? But I don't put much stock into it.
Bryce Young is potentially the first quarterback selected, but some people are worried about his size. You played with a quarterback in Kyler Murray that also struggled with, people that said, well, he's not tall enough. But you tell me, what's the advantage of a traditional height at quarterback in the NFL? And did you feel like Kyler was at a disadvantage?
I don't think he's at a disadvantage at all. At the end of the day, if you're able to play football and able to play football at a high level, it really doesn't matter, how tall you are. As long as you can throw the ball and hit open receivers, that's what matters. And you look at Kyler's performance, he's been able to hit open receivers, whether in the pocket or outside the pocket.
Tell me about Kyler Murray's commitment to the game. That's a question mark about whether he's completely committed. What did you see?
He's committed to the game. That commitment hasn't changed. I think he's doing everything that he can to put himself in the best situation to be ready when the season starts back up. Coming off of an ACL injury, which I've done before, you just want to be able to put your name back out there and put your hand back in the pile and be there for your teammates. And I think he's doing everything humanly possible to put himself back out there on the field.
What about Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach? Obviously, he got fired at the end of the season. What was your takeaway on Cliff?
Clifford is an amazing individual. I've known him for now 3 years. It's been a blessing to see his growth and know that he's going to get another opportunity. It's a business. It's a performance-based business, and we didn't get it done this year. And that's just the nature of what he has to do moving forward. So know that when he gets his next opportunity, he's going to absolutely kill it. If you look at many of the coaches who've won, it was tough starts early on in their career, and I think he has the ability to rectify that when he gets his next opportunity.
Kelvin Beachum joins us. He played for the Cardinals the last 3 seasons. Okay, but let's be fair here. You said Kyler has no problem on commitment, and Cliff Kingsbury's an amazing coach. So then why didn't you guys win more last year?
It's all about execution. It's all about execution. It's not one person. It's not two people. It's a team game. Offense, defense, special teams. And that was last year. I'm a free agent, so I have no idea, who I'm going to be playing for next year. But I can speak to, at the end of the day in the National Football League, it's all about execution. It doesn't matter who you have on your roster, how talented your roster is. Are you able to execute in the most critical moments of the game? And it doesn't matter if you have a Hall of Famer, if you have a Pro Bowler, if you had a Hall of Fame head coach. If you're not executing in the most critical moments of the game, you have no chance at winning consistently in the National Football League.
So where does execution then fall as a responsibility? Coach, quarterback, team in general?
The team in general. It's a team that has to be able to execute when it's, 28 seconds left and you got the ball on your, 20-yard line and you have to be able to score to win the game. That's execution. That's coach. That's players. It's a team game. So I don't put stock into placing blame or placing responsibility on one or two people. It's a team game. It's 11 people on offense, 11 people on defense, 11 people on special teams that have to be able to execute throughout the game to be successful, in those critical moments.
If you were retired instead of looking for another job, do you feel like you would be more critical?
Not at all. I think I would be able to shoot you straight just like I'm shooting right now. And shoot from the hip and be able to give you honest, consistent, and direct insight on what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling within the locker room, just like I would be able to do if I was sitting in the chair you're sitting in right now.
Now, I totally respect you, and I really appreciate you coming on the show, but you have to understand from my standpoint, when you say I can shoot you straight, you're telling me a team that collapsed down the stretch in 2021, got blown out in the wild card round, had a bad season last year, had a quarterback that had to have something put into his contract about studying more, had a coach that got fired, that the only thing was execution, and that's the only thing you can point to? I mean, that kind of feels like a generality, don't you think?
Look at the film is what I like to go back and look at. If you look at the film, look at, an opportunity we had 2 years ago down the stretch when we had San Francisco that had a depleted defensive line that came into town. All we had to do was win one game, and we're actually in the playoffs. Like, that's execution. It has nothing to do with one or two people. I can point to that blowout last year in the playoffs. Like, that's execution. It has nothing to do with one or two people. So, again, it's a team game. I don't think it has anything to do with, all right, well, what is Cliff calling? All right, well, what is Kyler doing? It's a team game, and I think that's what I like to point to, because football is a team game. We can't go talk about golf, or we can't go talk about baseball or basketball. This is not one person can drive the value for an entire organization. It's an organization that moves in collaboration with one another consistently to be able to win those critical games.
I hear you. So how do you get a team to be on the same page to move in synchronicity for execution? Who does that fall on to get that done?
I think it starts at the very, very top. It's the philosophy. What is the philosophy of the organization moving forward? What is the process in which that organization is going to be known for? The people that they bring into the building, the way in which they evaluate, and they've been able to change some of those things. So Monty is a process-oriented individual. Monty came from New England. What is New England known for? They're known for their process. He went to Tennessee, which is a spinoff of what happened in New England. It's about the process. And if you go back to teams that have a process and teams that have that process consistently throughout, the season, they're able to be successful. I look at my time in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had a process. The reason that Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, because of that process. The standard is the standard there. You look at things in New England, it's the Patriot way. They have a process. They're able to go back to that process no matter if they're winning the Super Bowl, if they're out of the playoffs. If you look at Pittsburgh and you look at New England, even when they're not in the playoffs, or when they're not, in that conversation, you still know what their process is. That process puts them in a position.
Let's pot Kelvin down now, and maybe you can just make sure that he's in a good spot Zoom-wise when the reception comes back, because I'd like to finish out the conversation, obviously, with him. Kelvin Beachum joining us this morning on the show. He's played in the NFL for quite some time. Offensive lineman, started all 17 games for the Cardinals last year, and he's going to become a free agent. He is a free agent, and when free agency starts coming up here next week, I'm sure he'll have a lot of suitors. One of the more desirable offensive linemen, certainly in the free agent market. Speaking of, Kelvin, how do you handle free agency before free agency begins? Do you just have to kind of wait and watch, and then when free agency begins, you can start taking visits, or do you get to have some conversations through your agent about where you might want to go before then?
For me, I really don't put too much stock into free agency. I put the stock into what happened those 17 weeks during the season. And if you go back and look at the film, and you go back and look at what happened during those 17 weeks, I think that sets the stage for what's going to happen during free agency. I'm actually heading out of the country during free agency, and it's something that I've done pretty regularly throughout the free agency process because I put my faith in what I did, during the season. So the opportunity is coming up. I put my best foot forward when I have an opportunity to do so, and excited for what's going to take place here over the next couple of weeks.
Well, you have always committed a lot of time and energy in the community, and you are the only 5-time NFLPA Community MVP winner in the history of the award. And your next project is partnering with World Vision USA to drill clean water wells in Zambia. So tell me how this project came together and why this one means a lot to you. Once again, we'll get Kelvin on the horn with a better Zoom reception, and let me know when he's back with us. But that's a pretty cool project that he is teaming up with World Vision USA for clean water wells in Zambia. And he has been, wherever he's been, Pittsburgh, Arizona, New York with the Jets, he's always been committed to being one of the members of the community that you can really count on from a football standpoint to kind of weave things together. So it's obviously part of what Kelvin's done throughout his career. So just tell me how this project came together and why this one means a lot to you. I think we lost Kelvin again, so we'll try one more time before we have to get out of here for the commercial break. Kelvin Beachum joining us this morning on the show. It is a Thirsty Thursday, so let us know what you're toasting to. Maybe good Wi-Fi is a good thing to toast to. Clean Zoom connections. Hit me up on Twitter, DA on CBS. Maybe free agency in general. Players moving around. Your favorite team. Getting guys that you need to flesh out the roster. The Hidden Pickle is tweeting, toasting to Mraz for teaching me about religion yesterday. I feel so much closer to Jesus knowing that he was born to the first humans ever. Hashtag Booskies. Cigar smoking dude toasting the entire staff this morning. Great content and laughs that were needed today. Thanks, guys. Hashtag Booskies. If you missed yesterday's interpretation of Adam and Eve confused with Joseph and Mary, it's on our social media pages, and it was also part of hour number 4 yesterday. We didn't think we could top the battle over urinals and the battle over stalls and when to use each one, but I think we may have had not one but 2 12DA candidates from yesterday's show.
Matters of fact,
Jay Bizzle Fashizzle is toasting to the next 5 weeks. March Madness, Good Friday, and Easter, and my family's annual Easter spring break cruise. Hashtag Booskies. Lukewarm Churro is toasting to his wife. Our baby is going through that fun teething phase and has woken up crying the past few nights. My wife has been a champ taking care of our baby and letting me get a little extra sleep. Hashtag Booskies. Mraz has requested that Badlands Booker belches in his face, and Jeremy tweets, anyone burping intentionally in someone's face is disgusting and should be punishable by law.
Booskies.
Dixieland Dan is toasting to his new countertops. I've always wanted granite countertops, and by George, I got some. I've only got showers to set in place and baseboards to finish the barn-demonium. It's going to be finished here soon, DA.
Booskies.
Looks great, man. Dixieland Dan, you're a handy one. Looks really good to me. Nice job.
Na 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 na. Kill him with the no. Na 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 na.
Rob of the 321 toasting to the Freedom Athletics cheer squads as they prepare for a huge competition in Savannah. Mooskies for teams Justice, Glory Girls, Fearless, and J-Unit as we do what we do, and that is dominate. Hashtag Mooskies.
Booskies.
Mooskies are kid Booskies. Milk, I suppose. Tyler is toasting to his co-worker and fellow D-Alien Mike. We recently found out that we both listen to the show. Can't wait to get in a debate. The Mickey Mouse claims from today. Hashtag Booskies.
Booskies.
Spicy cabbage. Ooh, spicy. Toasting to Pete for mixing in all the drops that have led to the recent thaw toward He Who Shall Not Be Named. He was the songbird of a new generation. Hashtag Fat Sinatra. Hashtag Is That So?
Booskies.
Now, where do we stand on Kelvin Beachum? We're wrapping up that interview.
His Wi-Fi clearly crashed. He did not hop on back on. His publicist, the person who pitched the interview, I've emailed looking for a phone number because it was a really good interview and he was really professional in answering his questions. But it's unfortunate not to get the, what he's looking to promote his work in there. So I was trying to get him up on the phone. And right now, the phone number I have is going right to voicemail. So from a producer standpoint, I know that this is not our fault. It is not my fault. But it sucks that he had he was professional answering all those questions, and the whole reason he's on, we can't get him to talk about it.
Right. And I hope that they're not going to just shut down the rest of the interview because he was upset that I asked him some pointed question about the Cardinals.
No, I don't get that vibe because he was handling it really well, and he was talking about, he started to. We heard him, the Wi-Fi froze.
Squishy Liquid tweets, I'm toasting the civilian sitting next to Pete the Body. Her laughter and incredulous looks encapsulate the ridiculousness that is this show. Hashtag Booskies.
Booskies.
That's
Civilian.
Civilian. Amanda is soon to be out of the civilian space and into this war zone that we call
Wacky world.
Yeah, that we call the DA show. Amanda has been an intern before. She's been wonderful at that job, helping us out, and now she's getting some experience watching Pete run the board, so that potentially she could do that as well, either in this show or other shows around the network. So welcome her with open arms. She's awesome, totally hard worker, heart of gold. She's been awesome to be around, committed to the cause. We love her. So be great to have her as part of the show. She's kind of shadowing what Pete the Body does. And yes, this week is quite the week to shadow the DA show. This is
Kill him with the, kill him with the, kill him with the heads high. Kill him with the no. Kill him with the, 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 kill him with the heads high. Kill him with the no. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
If we can't get Kelvin Beachum back on the show, just so you know, he's traveling to Zambia this month to see the impact that clean water has on communities. He has helped fund 2 critical water wells in Zambia, and World Vision is trying to provide clean water in developing world and nations, reaching someone every 10 seconds with clean water, which is really cool. And like I said, this is a guy who cares a lot about the community and doing right by others and using his platform for good. And he's already donated 2 wells and looking for fan support for the 3rd well. So it's a cool cause. Big ups, much love, helping the world. Can't beat that. When we come back here on the show, Stephon Diggs could be on the move. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Time to play Gloria Karaoke. Pete the Body Bilotti, cue the music.
Gloria, you're always on the run now, running after somebody. You gotta get him somehow. I think you gotta slow down before you start to blow it. I think you're headed for a breakdown, so be careful not to show it. You really don't remember, wasn't something that he said. All the voices in your head calling, Gloria, Gloria. Don't you think you're falling? If everybody wants you, why isn't anybody calling? You don't have to answer. Leave them hanging on the line. Oh, calling. Oh, calling Gloria. Gloria, Gloria. I think they got your number. Calling those cows, Gloria. I think you got the alias, Gloria, that you've been living under, Gloria. But you really don't remember. Was it something that they said? All the voices in your head. Call it Gloria! Gloria!
Oh, God.
How's it gonna go down? Will you meet him on the main line? Or will you catch him on the rebound? Will you marry for the money? Take a lover in the afternoon. I feel like your innocence slipping away. Don't you believe it's coming back soon, Gloria? And you really don't remember? Was it something that he said? All the voices in your head call it Gloria! Gloria!
Okay,
Don't you think you're falling?
No, it's over.
Call the
It's over.
cows!
No. Oh, God.
It was truly horrible.
Oh, it was a bad.
Bogus just tweeted, the Blues are in the process of returning the cup right now. That was awful.
I didn't think that was that bad.
That was terrible.
One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This year, like last year, the best is right here on CBS.
It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
And a happy Thirsty Thursday to you, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. You can tweet at us, DA on CBS, with your Thirsty Thursdays. Now, Stephon Diggs had a cryptic tweet yesterday that said, quote, "It's just business. Don't take it personal." And then 10 minutes later said, "That's what they say, at least." He also unfollowed the Buffalo Bills on social media. Uh-oh. So some people are wondering what that means. Remember, Stephon Diggs at the end of that playoff loss against the Bengals was sniping on the sideline, pouting, whatever, and Josh Allen kind of came over to, or Josh Allen was on the sideline, and he came over to him and started yelling or whatever. It was kind of an ugly scene, and that's not the first time Stephon Diggs has shown some frustration in the middle of a game. Remember, he was upset during the Vikings playoff win in New Orleans because he wasn't getting targeted enough. So there's been some moments where he's lost his cool. But with all that being said, I would highly doubt the Buffalo Bills are moving on from Stephon Diggs. He has proven to be the number one target for Josh Allen. That franchise has just continually tried to build around Josh Allen, make Josh Allen the centerpiece of the offense, and I don't see that changing. Plus, let's face it, if anything, the Bills had a lack of depth at wide receiver last year, not too many pieces. So it doesn't sound great right now, but I find it hard to believe the Bills would be willingly going to part with him anytime soon. Maybe they're in the middle of a contract squabble where they're saying, okay, we need you to renegotiate. We need you to put some money here, put some money there, do this, do that. And he's saying no, and he's upset, or something's happening behind the scenes. But I don't think that the Buffalo Bills would do anything to move on from Stephon Diggs. That's just a guess. I know nothing internally. Coming off a season where he caught 108 passes, 11 touchdowns, and has 1,400 yards, and he's under contract through 2027. I find it hard to believe that they're going to move on from him at this moment. Booski's coming in. Ragnar Razorback says, Booskies to the podcast, DA. Love New York accent. I consume 99.9% of my sports content audibly. And I love the podcast. Refreshing to hear the interview with Mookie Wilson and see that you're just as big a sports nerd like the rest of us. Hashtag cheers.
Booskies. Booskies.
These interviews that I'm going to do for this podcast is really fun for me because, as you know, we just had Kelvin Beachum on, and we can do 10 minutes with Kelvin. And you can get so far, but you really, if you want to for me, dig into a guy's career and thoughts, and there's two things that I love: length and a guy that's retired, because he doesn't need to protect anybody anymore. To me, that's when you get true honesty. And I talk about this a lot. I have such respect for guys that have already played, because I think that they went through wars, they went through battles, they come out on the other side with perspective and context. And I think when you talk to a guy who's currently playing, you don't always have that, because they've still got the spotlight on them, the celebrity on them, the attention on them, and they can be self-involved because, of course, everything revolves around them. And then you retire and the noise goes away. The spotlight goes away, and you're left with just yourself. And now you have time to reflect, and you have time to download and think and process. And so the guys that have retired, I find so much more interesting. So that's kind of what the podcast is meant to be, a long-form discussion with the guys that have already played, and women as well, that have played, especially in New York, where it's a unique experience, no doubt. So I appreciate you saying that. And I had a lot of fun talking to Mookie Wilson as well. And more of them on the way. Debuted on Tuesday. Every episode drops on Tuesdays. You can subscribe. The podcast is called New York Accent. Available all places you get your podcast, including inside the free Odyssey app.
Nice artwork, by the way, man.
You like that?
It was better than my Martian Man.
We love One Giant Step's artwork because it has no suggestion to football.
In fact, when asked to put football stuff in it, they were rebuffed.
It's just a astronaut on the surface of the moon. And it says One Giant Step. And most people think it's a NASA podcast.
They were ordered, take off the blue G and get rid of the goalpost of the football. Why?
Is he at least planting a Giants flag?
Nope. No. It's it quite frankly looks like Spike Aldrin made the podcast.
Spike Aldrin.
Whatever his name is, Buzz Aldrin.
Phil.
I don't know if you noticed this, Mraz, but the New York Accent artwork is meant to reflect that late 80s, early 90s script hat. Remember the hats that you had?
Yeah. And it looks like the Mets version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's sharp. It's to the point. I wasn't making a joke. I really do like the artwork.
Appreciate
it's
that.
nice.
Nice. Fix tweets, I'm toasting Mraz for not knowing basic religious history. It gave me a great laugh during a really tough and stressful day. I love how you guys always mix in laughs. I hope you guys come to Baltimore again so I can get you guys all fed at my sub store. Booskies.
Whoa.
Well, there's always Little Mo Day every summer in Baltimore at Camden Yards. So I've made it 2 years in a row. If you guys wanted to come with me for year number 3, maybe we can eat at this guy's sub shop.
Okay. Maybe they do a little crab cake sandwich, something like that. Okay.
My.
By the way, you will, if you miss the religious thing, that is going to be the fail today.
Okay. Chris tweets, good morning, guys. I'm toasting yesterday's urinal controversy. It stirred up a huge discussion at work and took up most of our morning. The one and only problem was my coworker kept saying, take a sip of that. And while talking about urinals, it was not cool.
Booskies.
Oh, boy. AB has headlines and a rare fourth-hour stunt.
Mm-hmm. Know this little girl. Her name is Maxine.
DA, the Suns traded for Kevin Durant while he was recovering from a sprained knee. He got healthy, played 3 games, and now he might have a badly sprained ankle. KD slipped going in for a layup, warming up for his home debut last night. Left ankle's the issue, and the Arizona Republic now says the fear inside the organization is a grade 2 sprain, which would mean 4 to 6 weeks of absence, which would likely mean the rest of the regular season.
Wait, who is this?
Durant.
Thanks for listening, guys. Fourth time you mentioned it.
4 to 6 weeks. Enjoy the pine, buddy. Enjoy the pine. Thank you for Mikal Bridges. Enjoy that pine. Eat that, Phoenix. Eat it.
This just in from New York. Husky radio producer dies of laughter, sarcastically celebrating Kevin Durant's latest injury.
I mean, he didn't die. He's out 4 to 6 weeks.
No, you were going to
Serves you
die.
right. Serves you right.
It got all red.
Enjoy sitting there. Enjoy the views of Devin Booker going out early in the playoffs, pal.
There was so much in there that is so good. First, the evil laugh was really elite. Secondly, eat the pine. What'd you say? Ride
the pine.
Ride the pine. Enjoy that pine. Enjoy that pine. And then an eat it? Was there an eat it Phoenix in there?
Yeah, whatever it is, I don't care. I'm
Eat it.
so happy. The last thing they deserve was a title. I hope Kevin Durant suffers and sits there. Hope he's fine long-term medically, but, can't play basketball.
I've also mentioned it 4 times. It took the 4th mention to get the evil laughter.
This is the first 4 to 6, right?
This is true, but I mean, he was hurt all morning.
Yeah.
Not a surprise.
He slipped on a slippery floor.
I mean, he slipped and freaking practiced in warm-up.
You know who does have a slippery floor? Dave and Buster's Barclays Center.
The Suns did recover to beat the Thunder easily last night, 132-101, while Devin Booker scored 44. The Mavs lost in New Orleans, 113-106, after Luka Doncic injured his left thigh in the third quarter. He'll get an MRI today as well. For just the 5th time this season, the Nuggets lose at home, 117-96 to the Bulls. Head coach Mike Malone.
Nothing went right tonight. We didn't play well. I didn't coach well. Give Chicago credit. That's not who we've been all year long. I can't remember the last time we had a game like this.
The Bulls got 29 points from Zach LaVine, but this morning, guard Lonzo Ball's reportedly nearing a 3rd surgery on his troublesome right knee. This one would require 6 months recovery, which would affect the start of next season. The Celtics snapped their 3-game drought, 115-93 over the Blazers. Jason Tatum scored 30. The Cavs topped the Heat, 104-100, and the Raptors lost to the Clippers in L.A., 108-100. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George combining for 47 points, not the problem. Fred VanVleet did not like the officiating and doesn't care who knows it.
I mean, I don't mind. I'll take a fine. I don't really care. I thought, Ben Taylor was terrible tonight. I thought that on most nights, out of the 3, there's 1 or 2 that just the game up. And it's been like that a couple games in a row.
So if you're scoring at home, that's Ben Taylor, referee, the problem for Fred VanVleet
That
last
must feel so good to just let it loose and not care about a fine.
Yeah, and like to know that $50,000 or whatever it is not that big of a deal. Like this is going to be worth ripping into Ben Taylor.
Really therapeutic. I mean, $50,000, no matter how much you make, is a lot of money to just say something you're not supposed to say. But to just say, I don't care, I'm saying it anyway, must be so therapeutic.
There is reportedly growing optimism within the Jets organization that they'll land Aaron Rodgers. The team continues to discuss trade compensation with the Packers. Colgate, Montana State, and Texas A&M Chris Christie took their spots in men's March Madness last night. Those Raiders from Colgate, a 3-peat in the Patriot League. Then we have Jim Boeheim no longer coaching Syracuse.
Don't put Chris Christie on that island.
The team sitting on a bunch of lawn chairs, too?
47
He closed the causeway. You couldn't get over to Corpus Christi.
47 years with the Orange for Boeheim. It all ends with an odd, possibly forced retirement after an ACC tourney loss to Wake Forest yesterday.
It ends at noon in Greensboro versus Wake Forest.
At the buzzer,
that
too.
is unbelievable.
The full Shohei Ohtani experience today in the World Baseball Classic. 4 scoreless innings with 5 Ks on the mound. A 2-run double hitting. Japan beat China 8-1 in Tokyo. Meanwhile, Team USA dropped an exhibition game to the Giants yesterday, 5-1. The Minnesota Wild won in Winnipeg 4-2 for an 11-game point streak. But Kirill Kaprizov got hurt.
Take a sip of that.
It tastes bad. No diagnosis.
Great line.
Expired Capri Sun.
That's tough.
Don't know when he'll be back just yet. No sarcastic laugh there, I guess.
No, I feel bad. Take a sip of that.
Let's get stunned.
Call me a joker. Call me a fool. Right at this moment, I'm totally cool.
It doesn't take much to surprise this bouncing baby boy.
This is honestly the most stunned I have ever been on the show to a news.
The DA show is stunned to a news.
Those drops, it's like the prodigal son returning. Would Pastor Sean want to explain that to our congregation?
Ooh, good one.
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay. I love a good stunned update. You know that. So today, you'll remember the stunned about the free-for-all in Maine when it came to vanity license plates. You were basically allowed to do whatever you want, put whatever word you wanted on those plates, and then lawmakers cracked down. They recalled 274 debatable plates. Now, since then, many drivers have filed appeals. All of them have been denied to date, and no one has furthered the fight into state superior court. One of the appeals came from a gentleman who's a vegan whose license plate said, "Love tofu." Or it says, "Love to blank blank." You be the judge. Hence its recall.
Take the ladder.
He swears it's tofu. State officials.
That would totally be a Jack Stern license plate.
Who the hell makes a vanity license plate over their love of tofu?
Right. Yeah, like I'm not driving around with my New York plate saying I love wings.
I can understand that more than tofu.
Yeah, your car should just say cholesterol on the back. That'd be amazing.
Or oopsie.
Need stent soon.
His cholesterol number.
And again, the response from state officials is, do whatever you want, say whatever you want with a bumper sticker. You want to be vulgar, risque, innuendo, bumper sticker, not on our state-sponsored license plates.
This is so stupid. Maine is such a cool state. This is such a weird battle for the state to take up. Questionable license plates? Questionable vanity license plates is a battle that the state wants to take up, and all they've done is rid 200 cars in a state. Think about how big the state of Maine is. 200 cars is what they needed to clean up off the road. Some that said, "Love tofu"?
Yeah.
That's the battle?
Yep, that's the battle.
I mean, no offense. I guess there's nothing to do in Maine to govern.
Yeah, this is actually a good commercial for living in Maine. This is their problem.
Could you imagine in New York or California or Florida if somebody was like, "Hey, we need to devote some resources to cleaning up the vanity plates"? People would be like, "Are you kidding me? There's about 1,000 other things to fix before the 200 questionable vanity plates."
Oh, look, ain't lobster roll season up there right now? It's probably not a lot going on. You're giving Maine too much credit. There's not a lot going on.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I guess there's literally nothing else going on.
And that, by the way, that makes me feel good about living there. Like, if that's a priority.
That's what we just said. It's a commercial for Maine.
I know that.
Like, they're broke, no potholes, everyone's got a job. So what are we going to do? License plates.
It's like, okay, we can either devote 120 hours over the next couple of months to ridding the state of questionable license plates, or we print more moose crossing signs and get them up. What do we do? What's in the budget here, guys?
Might need those moose crossing signs, though.
I mean, honestly, what's more protective of your community? Love tofu? You got to get rid of that one?
Yeah.
I mean, now I really do like love to F you.
I wasn't sure if we could say that on the radio, so I didn't. I'm glad you did.
Oh. And that's a dump.
And that's a dump. Love tofu. That's the best Valentine ever. Why do I care if you love to?
Imagine just rolling up on the Banger Expressway right behind Love Tofu. You pull around, you're like, is that the Shea Gilgeous Alexander guy?
You park in Kennebunkport, you're enjoying a lobster roll. You're like, love tofu? Oh.
Would you even read it as love tofu at first, or would you go right to the naughty one?
The naughty one.
I went to the naughty one.
Immediately,
Naughty one,
right?
Yeah. When you said love tofu, I'm like, oh, right, okay, love tofu.
Full disclosure, we did enough of this yesterday. I wouldn't even be sure that that's how you spell tofu.
How would you spell tofu?
Like, if you had to really ask me before seeing this, I would have guessed T-O-F-O-O. Like Tu Wong Fu?
Like Tu Wong Fu.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for nothing.
That's Julie Newmar.
Because it's tofu, not tofu.
And once again, the source of your knowledge is amazing. The one Asian studies course you took was Tu Wong Fu Love Shoot.
It's a good movie.
I think I know a little bit about Asian culture. I did watch Tu Wong Fu in 1997.
I like that movie. It was good.
I really like the idea of a vanity plate for Mraz's cholesterol. That would be, or his weight.
Or Mraz going into a really authentic Asian restaurant, Chinese. I will take the miso soup and I'll have the tuwang fu in it, please.
Extra food.
Extra food. I'll take it double food.
That's right.
It's like when Ed Ogeron told my wife double meat. Double foo?
Double foo?
Double foo. Keep a dream in your heart, Mraz. Double foo in that miso soup. Double foo.
Sitting right there.
I have a dream. You have a dream. We all have a dream. Yours is double foo.
Now basically Coach O's become Mr. T.
Yeah.
I pity the fool who doesn't keep a dream in their heart.
Oh, what is this show this week?
What is wrong with this show this week? When we come back, advanced analytics and an epic fail. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Do you have that, perhaps? I'm looking for like a black tie event. A 90-minute wait for a pastrami sandwich. That's not even the best in the city. No thanks. So I decided to go to another New York institution, the Soup Nazi. Every Seinfeld fan has heard of this guy. It's a little stand on the street. You get in there, you get your soup, you order, you get out of there. There's a lot of pressure. I have actually never been to the Soup Nazi. So you know what? Today is exactly the right time to do it. It's only a couple of blocks away on 55th and 8th. Let's head over there.
Hi, small lobster bisque, small jambalaya, please.
I'll tell you, that was a little stressful actually. You go up there, you order, and you're supposed to just move to the side. There's all different signs saying exactly that in every language. There is no excuse if you're not from this country. It's the ultimate New York City lesson. Keep the line moving or we're gonna have trouble. I went with the lobster bisque because it's on the signage everywhere, and then I had to go with the jambalaya because who could forget Newman? Jambalaya! He's got a nice bag, he's got some napkins in there with his face on it. Plus, how about this? The complimentary banana. And it's so perfectly ripe. Every banana I ever buy is either green or bruised up and black by the time that I actually want to eat it. This is hard to do. I don't know how bananas go with soups, but the attention to detail of having a banana that's perfectly ripe with every order says something about the Soup Nazi. It's very time-oriented and it's very efficient.
Boss man, that can't record in this lobby. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. All right. Recording in.
2 minutes remaining.
tell you, the soups were great. They lived up to the hype. Lobster bisque had a bunch of chunks of lobster in it. It was rich, but didn't give me heartburn. It had a really great taste to it, but more like a stew. And some lobster bisques are basically just cream with just a little sprinkling of a little bit of lobster in there. Not this. I liked it. Now let me tell you, the jambalaya, I see why Newman loved it. It had so much stuff in it. It had the rice, it had the little sausage, it had a little bit of chicken in it, it had the mini shrimps, and it was spicy. Had a nice kick to it. So there you go. If you're in New York and they're going to make you wait for 90 minutes to 2 hours just to eat at the Carnegie Deli, you might as well go to Soup Man. Hey, remember to subscribe to Nomad, this little logo right here. Just click on that and you'll get every episode automatically on your YouTube dashboard. You'll even get a notification. Hey, DA has a new Nomad out. Why don't you go watch it? Every Tuesday we release another episode of Nomad. Your lesson today, if they ever ask you to wait for 90 minutes to go sit down to eat a pastrami sandwich, just find the
Analytics is just a term that's kind of thrown around a lot.
It's time now for the Mothership's Advanced Analytics.
All right. Could you convince your spouse to go to Golden Corral for dinner? This show has had it all. 59% of you say no. Now, data tells us that children under 3 can always eat free at Golden Corral. As of 2019, there were just under 500 corrals across the country. Is that so? And Pete the Body, a big fan of the fried chicken at Golden Corral.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Was that right?
Yes.
And you said the baked fish was good? Oh, no, you didn't eat the fish.
They had I think they had a ham that was
ham.
pretty good. They cut the carving station.
Okay.
It was excellent.
Okay.
It was very good. For a buffet, I thought it brought me back to Sizzler times.
Yeah. Would you compare it to Peak Sizzler?
Peak Sizzler was good because you could get your, like we talked about, you get your own meal and then add on the salad and then the extra things that were at the salad bar.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Sizzler, always number one.
Okay. Well, let's get to your epic fail of the morning, boys and girls. The epic fail actually happened yesterday, but it happened too late for us to make it the fail. And this was Mraz conflating Mary and Joseph and Adam and Eve.
Even the DA show is not perfect. We know. Shocking. Here's the epic fail.
But if Mary and Joseph had the Immaculate Reception and then we got Jesus Christ here, what are you laughing at now? Who was around before them making pancakes? It doesn't make sense.
And that's what's happening.
I think you got Franco Harris and Mary and Joseph mixed up there.
Well, what was the Franco Harris play named after? It was the Immaculate Reception.
Holy smokes.
It's a take on the Immaculate Conception.
All right, I need to shut it down.
You think?
Forever or just for this morning?
I really need to go read a book. I don't know.
When was Mrs. Buttersworth invented?
Imagine thinking that Jesus was born via the Immaculate Reception.
I don't understand the connection of why Jesus only could usher in pancakes. Like, why?
Matters of fact.
The people that lived before Jesus were incapable of making a sweet treat. I don't understand
Jesus was
that
a
logic either.
I am in pleading religious ignorance. I was under the
Religion
impression
has nothing to do with it.
I was under the impression if you followed the Catholic religion, which I somewhat do,
okay,
that the first two humans were Mary and Joseph, and they had the Immaculate, I guess, conception of Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, that's an all-timer.
Well, why would it be immaculate then if they're creating something we've never seen before?
Come on, everybody.
Mary was a virgin.
So they were living with other people. I thought Mary and Joseph were kind of like Adam and Eve.
Bogus walked out.
Well, who do you think Adam and Eve were?
Mary and Joseph. Although they were like the same people, but it's like if you don't believe in the Catholic or Christian religion, you believed in Adam and Eve. Which I see now I am terribly wrong, apparently.
It's losing.
This is the way I've lived my life, which is why Christmas is a big deal.
This is preposterous. This is the dumbest thing you've ever said. I cannot believe the 3 or 4 cents that just came out of your mouth that you thought Mary and Joseph were the first people alternately called Adam and Eve for non-believers. I got nothing else. I got nothing else.
Epic fail, you loser.
That is why you fail. Epic fail.
For non-believers. And then Mraz goes, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like, how would we get the 3 wise men?
It dawned on me in real time. They had to come from somewhere.
And that's why Christmas is a big deal.
Yeah. And then Mraz says, Mary and Joseph, and then here comes Santa Claus. That's how we get from A to B. Yeah, yesterday was a hell of a show. Today was a hell of a show, actually. DA Show Quotes is toasting to all of the recent D-aliens who have found the show. Going through the chats in both YouTube and Twitch, a lot of people asking who Intern Amanda is. The mothership tractor beam's been working overtime since the summer. Booskies to the older D-aliens for explaining to everybody who she is. So Booskies. Love that community, familiarity, people that are associated with the show that have worked on the show before. Intern Amanda's been amazing for us for a long time. Now she's shadowing Pete today, so she could be a bigger part of the show, hopefully. All right, that'll do it for us this morning here on the program. Great Thirsty Thursday. Thanks to Sean Mraz, executive producer. Thanks to Pete the Body Bellotti on the Wheels of Steel and audio director. Thanks to Andrew Kaplan, the Wizard of Watch DA. Andrew Bogish on your headlines. I think we have found what the punishment is going to be for the NIT Bracket Challenge. We will unveil that tomorrow. Assuming we get a consensus unanimous vote, we will have the punishment ready for you tomorrow morning. I'm DA, the Mothership Disconnect.
Got a ticket for a runaway train.